Teams with identical 8-3 records, but that's where the similarities end. Maurice DeShazo, among the nation's leaders in passing efficiency, is the man who makes Virginia Tech's offense so powerful. He's complemented by rugged tailback Dwayne Thomas. The sophomore spearheads the Hokie rushing attack, ranked number 10 in the nation. Bill Mallory's success has come with an intimidating defensive unit, which sets the tone for Indiana. The question for the Hoosiers, can they stop Maurice DeShazo? Today we're in northwestern Louisiana on an absolutely magnificent afternoon for football, as today two of the nation's top 25 go at it. The Virginia Tech Hokies, ranked number 22. Indiana, number 21 of the nation. Two teams with 8-3 records. Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Myers. Welcome to Shreveport and Happy New Year. It's a matchup today of the Big East and Big Ten conferences. Now, many were surprised by the prominent role that the Big East Conference played in the national picture, as they had 4 teams finish this year in the nation's top 25. For the Big Ten, another solid effort. In fact, they sent a record 7 teams to postseason bowl competition. Also with us in the booth this afternoon, former UCLA Bruin, not a Big Tenner or a Big Easter, but a Pac-10er.
That's right, absolutely.
Former member of the Washington Redskins as well, Rick Walker. A real contrast in styles today, Rick, when we look at Virginia Tech and Indiana.
Well, I think when any of us think about the Big Ten, you think about those huge offensive linemen. I mean, sticky zone defense, powerful running backs, and then by contrast, the new kids on the block, the Big East, and quarterback wide receivers and running backs that catch the ball. On defense, they play an aggressive style. They'll bump and run you. They'll come at you. They blitz you. They do it all. Now, the one common thread between both schools and both conferences is aggressiveness. I guarantee you, folks, whistle to whistle, you're going to get hit. There'll be no spectators in today's game. And the winner, well, you get bragging rights in recruiting. It also helps you move up in the top 10, top 20 polls. And more importantly, each of them wants to win their respective divisions.
It was truly the year of the quarterback in the Big East Conference. And for Virginia Tech and their quarterback, a record-setting season.
Maurice DeShazo, what a difference a season makes. A year ago, he was just a young man trying to feel his way through, had great athletic ability. Well, this season, he put up big numbers, and more importantly, he was accurate. 22 touchdowns opposed to 7 interceptions. That's the key in a quarterback. He's a field general, he's a leader, and they love him.
Now, it's a very physical group from the Big Ten, a very physical front 7, in fact, for the Indiana Hoosiers. Rick, how do they slow down a Virginia Tech offense that averaged 36 points a game?
Well, again, you go back to Big Ten. Herman McCormick, he is the man you keep your eye on. He led the Hoosiers in sacks with 7. He's 6'4", 265 pounds, cat quick. He's going to definitely get some inside penetration. He can make it a nightmare afternoon for Mr. DeShazo. Now, if he doesn't get you, then Alfonso Thurman will do it. 2 years in a row now, he's led the Hoosiers in tackles. This guy told me he's going to be all over DeShazo the entire afternoon. We'll see.
Also with us on our coverage today, working the sideline, a former New York Giant, Mike Mayock. And let's head downstairs now and check in. Mike?
Hey, guys, forget about all this offensive and defensive talk. When two teams are this evenly matched, you've got to look at special teams for a possible edge. Now, Virginia Tech is very aggressive. They've blocked 35 kicks in Frank Beamer's 7 years as a head coach. Keep your eye on number 8, 6'6", Bernard Basham. He has blocked 7 extra points and field goals in his career. Conversely, IU's strength lies in the talent of their kickers. Place kicker Bill Manilopoulos is an all Big Ten place kicker, as is his punting counterpart, Jim DiGiulio. They even have the luxury inside the 50-yard line of bringing in designated pooch punter Shannon Rutledge. Now, let's keep an eye today on these special team units and see which one of these units is indeed special. Back up to you, Joel.
All right, Mike, what a perfect day we've got in Shreveport, Louisiana. We'll be right back with the starting lineups for the 18th annual Independence Bowl,
where in less than 48 hours, this city will host at least a portion of the college football.
60 degrees in northwestern Louisiana, and welcome back once again to the 18th edition of the Independence Bowl. Now, one of the interesting stories we'll be watching very early is quarterback John Pacey, the starter for the Indiana Hoosiers. He's had a slightly separated shoulder. It's a concern for Bill Mallory coming in, but he feels he's just about all the way back. Pacey, though, is going to require shoulder surgery at the end of this contest. He is going to have it during the offseason. He's backed up, though, by Chris Ditto. There's John Pacey, number 11. As you can see, 9-2. as a starter so far, the junior from Huntington, New York. But as we found out yesterday from his dad, Rick, and there's the backup Chris Ditto, who may be pressed into action today. He really doesn't have full range of that throwing shoulder.
Well, that was the interesting part. He actually has a three-quarter throwing motion. That's one thing we're going to keep our eye on in pregame warm-up. We really couldn't get a good feel for it. I don't think it'll affect him in a short game. What we're going to have to see is if he can air it out. Definitely doesn't have full mobility. Should he not be effective, as you mentioned, Chris Ditto had a little time against Purdue in the fourth quarter, showed he could play different quarterback, a big guy, about 6'5", 230 pounds, and not that mobile, but has a cannon.
There's their real leader, though, John Pacey, 6'3", 210-pounder, a junior from Huntington, New York. Let's head back to the field now, and Mike Mayock. Mike?
Hey, Joel, thank you. Just a moment ago, I had an opportunity to speak with Virginia Tech offensive coordinator Ricky Bussell. He tells me they're going to script their first 10 plays. And what they want to do is get a good look at what they're going to do against Maurice DeShazo in that option attack. He feels strongly that IU does not see a lot of option in the Big Ten, and they want to see what kind of reaction they get to it. Now, that's irregardless of down and distance. Those first 10 plays are scripted. Conversely, with IU, they will script first and second down only, and they will leave third down as a discretionary down up to the coaches, depending on down and distance. So both teams script. It's just a little bit different look. Back up to you guys.
All right. And when you talk about scripts, you can throw them right out the window when Maurice DeShazo gets going in the option, because there are so many options available for the quarterback for the Virginia Tech Hokies. A very gifted young man.
Well, he's definitely the difference. And you get a guy who can get on the grass and run the option. And what makes him unique is the fact he can get in the pocket and throw the football with tremendous accuracy.
Now, you talk about the grass. The grass is very thin here. And there is the place kicker for the Hokies of Virginia Tech. An interesting story surrounding Ryan Williams. He lost half of his kicking foot in a childhood injury. He wears a special shoe, as you can see, a la the old New Orleans Saints place kicker Tom Dempsey. That shoe had to be approved by the NCAA before he could compete for the Virginia Tech Hokies. He really booms him into the end zone. His big problem this year has been accuracy in field goals. He is only 6 of 11 on the season with a long of 34 yards. And the one that bothers him the most, obviously, the West Virginia
West Virginia,
game.
Absolutely.
Jermaine Chaney,
speedster.
He's back deep, waiting for the kickoff, along with Thomas Lewis. So Jermaine Chaney and Thomas Lewis, and we're underway at the Independence Bowl. It's over the head into the end zone and a touchback. So the Hoosiers of Indiana will start with the ball 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Well, Jermaine Chaney, the starting tailback, leads the Hoosiers in rushing. And not only has the size, but we've talked about it, the incredible speed for the young man from Flowery Branch, Georgia. The wide receivers, it's a record-setting wide receiver when you talk about Thomas Lewis, also voted the Hoosiers' most valuable player by the coaching staff. And Andrew Green, the right guard, also selected the best offensive lineman by the coaches for the Indiana Hoosiers. Glover in the backfield with Chaney in the eye. They love to work out of the eye. Chaney banging it. You'll see a lot of physical play between the tackles by Indiana, and he gets almost 6.
That's the one thing about Chaney that really impressed me. The speed guy with power.
The defensive look now for Virginia Tech in their 4-3 alignment. Cornell Brown, a true freshman and one of the most heavily recruited players on the East Coast last year. Ken Brown, the team leader in tackles, the coverage linebacker as well. And in the secondary, it's a rarity when a true freshman calls the defensive signals, but the free safety, Antonio Banks, does exactly that. 2nd and 4 now for Indiana from their own 26. Great protection for Pacey. The dump off. They called it incomplete, which is fortunate. It would have been a loss of 3. The pressure came from Torian Gray.
Well, we had indication last night from Phil Almation that they're going to bring people. The Hokies pride themselves on running some of the 46 defense, getting a guy in your face. John Glover did a pretty good job on pickup that time, blitz pickup. Secondary, definitely got to be credited. And that's the one thing that's unique about Virginia Tech. They bring it, but they also play pretty good in the secondary.
So now 3rd and 4 for Indiana. And it looks like an audible is being called at the line by Pacey. He only needs 4, and he won't make it. He comes up a yard and a half short. The Hokies hold, so 3 and out to start the contest for Indiana. Now, Virginia Tech, very interestingly, has enjoyed putting their defense on the field to start games. They have deferred on a couple of occasions when they won the toss. They like to get that defensive group out there.
Well, I like that, too. This time you see they're bringing people in. There's actually a natural void there. Pacey had a little happy feet in that. He's going to have to settle down, try to get a receiver, and convert on first downs. That's unfortunate for the Hoosiers.
Jim DiGiulio in to punt it away now for Indiana. And Steve Sanders back deep for Virginia Tech. One of the more aggressive return men you'll ever see.
I like him.
No pressure this time on the punter. Plenty of room for Sanders from the 25. Flag down on the play. Sanders takes it close to the 39. But a flag just about the point where he took it in. It was a 48-yard punt with a 16-yard return. It's an ACC crew working today's contest. And the referee today is Courtney Mauzé. And now let's take a look to clarify the signal. Going up against Virginia Tech, the offensive look for the Hokies in the backfield with DeShazo and Swarm. It's the tailback, Dwayne Thomas, the first Hokie to rush for better than 1,000 yards since 1986. The wide receivers, they'll feature Antonio Freeman. He set a Hokie record this year with 9 touchdown receptions. Yeah, the All-American anchors it up front. The center is Jim Pine, a consensus All-American, and overall only the 3rd All-America at Virginia Tech.
And the fact that he was a unanimous All-American is really striking when you think the fact that Bruce Smith played his ball there and was second-team AP. Tells you what TV exposure can do for you.
Maurice DeShazo, an exceptional option quarterback. And he's ready to throw on first down, and he's got Burke with a flag down and the play whistle dead. A dead ball foul coming up against the offense as Burke was available. So they wasted a good look early.
Well, it doesn't surprise me. Jitters. Guys get a little nervous.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5 yards. Still first down.
Let's take a look now at the defense as you see Frank Beamer, the head coach for the Hokies in his 7th season at Virginia Tech. Hervin McCormick, who we featured at the top of the telecast, a junior from Brooklyn, leads the team in sacks, named first team All Big Ten by the league's media. That's the defensive front four. The linebackers, Al Thurman, led the Hoosiers in tackles for the 2nd consecutive season. And Mose Richardson, plenty of experience on the corner over there. He has started a record 44 games for the Hoosiers. DeShazo on the pitch. There's Dwayne Thomas. He's got it out to the 20.
One thing about Thomas is that very disciplined runner, has good vision. And if you're Indiana, you're going to definitely have to be conscious of the option, especially when you got a quarterback that can keep it and get positive yardage. That time they were very disciplined, stayed in their lanes, and played well.
Dwayne Thomas really came on over the last few games of the season. In fact, in the second to last game, 163 yards against the Orangemen of Syracuse. So a good run. They got the penalty yardage back. It's 2nd and 6 from the outside the 20. Thomas again cutting it back nicely. And it looks like he's got the first down. Yes. 1st and 10, Virginia Tech on the good cut by Dwayne Thomas, turning it in.
Boy, George Swarm had a nice block on that. Again, we can say so many good things about Thomas. Here we look at from a defensive standpoint. We talked about Thurman. He's going to get in your face there. Real good block on it. But as you watch it back, it makes up his mind. He's going to stick it in there. I mean, there's nothing tentative about this young man. That's why I like him. You don't average 5.3 yards a crack by accident.
Dwayne Thomas with 11 rushing touchdowns this year for the Hokies, the most by running back at Virginia Tech since 1969. So a nose for the goal line as well. 1st and 10, and DeShazo out of the shotgun. The wide open receiver is Antonio Freeman past the 35. Good yardage on first down, just about 8.
You're going to have to challenge Freeman a lot more than that. He averages 20 yards a reception. I mean, this young man, and he does some remarkable things with the ball after he catches it. That time, very basic out. I'll take that every time you give it to me.
Virginia Tech taking no time at all in the huddle. It's not quite a hurry-up offense, but
Pressure offense.
They're not wasting any time getting up to the line. DeShazo has a man. He's got a first down. The wide receiver, Cornelius White, takes it to the 45-yard line. He's a redshirt freshman from Pendle, Pennsylvania.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, he filled in when Freeman was down with injury. They really like him. I mean, Coach Bustle said this guy can work himself open, very disciplined receiver. That was a pretty good indication.
So a couple of first downs early for Virginia Tech on their first possession of the 18th annual Independence Bowl. It's a little more than 3 minutes gone by. Two teams with records of 8-3 meeting for the very first time ever. In fact, Virginia Tech has never faced a team from the Big Ten Conference. First and 10 for the 45. Good running room again as Thomas gets just about 5. And right now, good movement in the trenches for Virginia Tech.
Well, they pride themselves with the offensive line, as you mentioned, All-American center Jim Pine, Chris Malone, Billy Contati. This time on the left side really made it happen. Pine's scrappy. You just like him. As you watch right here, sit on your screen, folks. Pine here on a double team block. You like to get a wipe off on the guard. See, he's down on the ground and wallowing in it. He'll get up. You can usually find a good offensive lineman. He'll get up first.
On the 2nd and 5. This time it's the fullback swarm. Not much available that time. He takes it inside Indiana Hoosier territory. So a gain of about a yard, yard and a half. And a 3rd and 4 now coming up for Virginia Tech. Indiana, who joined us a little bit late, started the game with the ball. 3 and out though. 3 snaps and a punt. It's the high-powered attack, the highest scoring offensive unit in Virginia Tech history, averaging 36 a game. Shazo operating out of the shotgun. Wide open in the flat. Can he maintain? No. Dwayne Thomas caught it in an awkward position and comes up just about a yard and a half, 2 yards short of the first down. Mose Richards to the corner on that side making the play.
Well, Mose came up, as you mentioned, 4-year starter. This young man really gives him stability. They've actually got a pretty experienced secondary by contrast to Virginia Tech. It has 3 freshmen and a sophomore. Two teams now just sparring, Joe. Just guys just trying to feel their way out. It wouldn't give advantage to anyone at this point.
Robbie Colley, well, with that drive, though, and a couple of first downs, field position should be to the advantage of Virginia Tech. Thomas Lewis from the 10. Out across the 15, close to the 16. There's a flag on the play. So a 38-yard punt for the junior from Tazewell, Virginia, Robbie Colley. A 7-yard return by the always elusive Thomas Lewis. And we've got a timeout of the field. We will take a break as well. Be right back to Shreveport, Louisiana.
Exclusive presentation of Bowl Week. The 1993 Poulin Weed Eater Independence Bowl is brought to you by Isuzu, makers of incredible 4-wheel drives, and by cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold.
A magnificent New Year's Eve afternoon in northwestern Louisiana. Welcome back to the 18th Annual Independence Bowl. The Indiana Hoosiers have it back the second time in the early going. It was 3 and out the first time they got the ball at their own 20. This time it's 1st and 10 at their own 15. Jermaine Chaney. He won't make it back to the line. A loss of a half yard. Good penetration by the defensive front, Cornell Brown. The end, the freshman from Lynchburg, Virginia, in on that stop.
Well, everybody said he was a good one. Lou Holtz made a comment that he was the best linebacker in the country. I mean, especially when you look at this kid in Virginia, everyone was wooing over him. You know, it's really difficult when a freshman can come out and play the run that strong at the point of attack. That was a good example.
2nd and 11. Loss of just about a yard for the Hoosiers. Casey on the dump off. He's got his fullback Glover. Not much available, though, on the swing. He goes to the 18, a little more than 3 on the reception. So it'll bring up 3rd and long now as Ken Brown put him down.
Boy, Brown makes a real good stop as we watch center of your screen. You know, they're taking away everything downfield. And that's really good for Virginia Tech because they're going to force them to take these little dinks and come up. Here's the difference when a kid comes in, Ken Brown, their best defensive player, comes in and makes a tackle. So often we watch a young man come up and miss that kind of tackle.
So now 3rd and 8, 3rd and long. The 3rd down is Virginia Tech, at least in the early going, winning the war of field position. A low snap, tough one for Pacey to handle. Here comes the pressure and the sack for Virginia Tech. They take the ball away, at least they try to. Indiana punting back inside their own 10, and that was a low snap for the quarterback, John Pacey.
Pressure all the way. Rod Carney, the ball's on the ground. At that point, you lose confidence as a quarterback. So you start to speed things up when actually maybe you have some time. That's just relentless pressure. This is what Almation wants. Waverly Jackson that time, 98, comes in and he just lowers the boom. Ton of pressure.
So Jim DiGiulio already his 2nd punt. And off the side of his foot, a wobbler. Sanders stays away. The Hokies get great field position as they'll start their second drive of the Independence Bowl in Indiana territory. Nice bounce, though, for DeJulio. Well, Frank Beamer, the head coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies, told us he was concerned with a high-powered offensive attack like his. He was concerned the timing was going to be off after a long layoff of 4 weeks. He was worried going in.
There's a lot of things to concern yourself with a coach when you've got 18, 19, 20-year-olds. You have a 2-week period, 2.5 weeks, and you want to concentrate on the intricacies of offense. That was obvious in that first drive. I was surprised, quite frankly, they didn't run the option with a 3rd and 4.
Big first half numbers for Virginia Tech, better than doubling their opponents in points in the first 30 minutes of play. Nothing doing for Joe Swarm. Good penetration by the defensive front that time for the Indiana Hoosiers. A gain of a half yard the most. Another one out of Miami of Ohio. The cradle of coaching, we call it. Bill Mallory started his coaching career back in 1969 as at least his head coaching career at Miami of Ohio. Get back into that in just a second on 2nd and long, 2nd and still 9. DeShazo with great protection. I think his receiver was surprised that it got over Mose Richardson, the quarterback, as it went off the fingertips of Antonio Freeman. And it was Jim Druckenmiller in there at quarterback that time as he leaves, and DeShazo is back in.
Well, they got him in. He got a big hit on this. As you watch, you start looking downfield, figuring that he runs a corner route, looked open for a second. Here you see Dreyer comes in, lowers the boom. You don't mind letting receivers get open if you follow up with a helmet in the back. Here you watch, the ball was actually tipped as we watch in the replay. Mose Richardson comes in and gets a tip on the ball. That was the difference.
Haven't seen the option. Now out of the shotgun, DeShazo going with man-to-man coverage and overthrowing Freeman. Good coverage, though, by Mose Richardson.
Well, I like that. I think you send a message. You let the people know that you're going to come out and go deep on him. And unless Mose, maybe he's tired, he just makes a big play. Living in his laws, you come right back at him and try to go route. Still jarring. 2 heavyweight boxers just jabbing at each other.
So what Frank Beamer was worried about bears fruition, at least in the early going.
He's also playing a good football team.
You never know. Defensive unit.
Exactly, Indiana.
But they are a little bit sluggish offensively. They waste the great field position when they had it 1st and 10 at the Indiana 49. And the punt, no fair catch for Lewis as he breaks the tackle. And a good move by Lewis to give some breathing room to the Indiana Hoosiers for the 3rd series when we come back. As they'll have it 1st and 10 outside of their own 23. No score in the early for the 3rd time in the first quarter. Still looking for their first down of the contest. They get ready to face that 8-man front. As Virginia Tech loves to go with the 46 defense. And movement up front. Jumping off J.C. Price, the right tackle. Was he drawn off, though?
What's one thing about this defense, and Coach Almation gave a great description of it. Whenever you got people moving around, here you see a tight end off. Ross Hales.
So Hales moving early, the tight end. 5-yard mark off. 1st and 15 now outside of the 18. Indiana. 7:04 left in the first 15 minutes of play with no score so far. Chaney, does he ever have some speed? Does it on his own and gets 4, almost 5. Let's go back downstairs to Mike. Mike?
Hey, Joel, this 8-man front, also known as the 46 defense, has caused a lot of confusion for Indiana early on. They came off the field after their last series and had a disagreement. John Pacey said, hey, there were 3 guys up there I audibled. George Ballou, offensive coordinator, said you can't do that. That was just a pre-read to confuse you. Back upstairs.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Confused they have been over the first couple of series. Now they're looking at 2nd and 10. The delay this time for Chaney to the 25, only a gain of a couple. So it'll bring up 3rd and long. Yeah, they love to show a blitz.
Here's the thing that's so interesting about it is we talk about the box and trying to get 8 men up in the front. What it does is creates a lot of anticipation. You start thinking, is this guy in my gap? Is this guy in my gap? And pretty soon you end up blocking nobody. When you get these perfect no-hitters, then you get people here in the circle. You got all those hats to the ball.
8 offensive plays so far for the Indiana Hoosiers. They've got a total of 9 yards offensively. Out of the shotgun, Pacey on 3rd and 8. He's got great protection, and he's got a receiver. That's Lewis for the first down, and he may take it the distance. Thomas Lewis And Indiana scores first on a 75-yard catch and run by Thomas Lewis.
Oh, that's big time. Lewis will get 5 touchdowns coming in today. Eric Matthews had a big block. And that's the thing that gets an aggressive defense. You're pounding people. You're all over. You make one mistake, and you get a receiver, a guy that has a nose for the ball, makes a good catch, and he knows what to do with it.
In for the extra point try. Metalopoulos, the place kicker. Good penetration by Virginia Tech, but Metalopoulos gets it through. And it's a 7-point lead early now for Indiana.
Again, we talk about pressure. You can watch on the outsides. The offensive line does a real good job. He steps up in the pocket. That time, Pacey shows some presence. And here you watch a good receiver drifting on the end. The block comes up right at the bottom, and this is just pure speed. This is every receiver's dream, folks, to have green grass in front of your goal post, and then they're playing the band.
Thomas Lewis, with so many big days for the Indiana Hoosiers, gives them an early lead with 5:36 left in the first 15 minutes of play. Plenty of big days for Thomas Lewis in the past for Indiana. In fact, the game against Penn State this year, 12 catches for 285 yards, a Big Ten record. So nothing new for Thomas Lewis, taking one the distance, and a long distance at that, 75 yards. Well, Frank Beamer was concerned with his offense and that they would be off a little bit because they are a option offense that needs to be in sync with a lot of repetitions. But right now, that gambling defense was burned.
Well, it was. You don't want to take away from them. They had 6 or 7 good plays. You give up one and really broke a tackle on it. So you always try to attribute poor tackling to it and figure out, was it your scheme or was it just a great athletic play? I kind of think Lewis deserves credit for that one.
Dwayne Thomas, Joe Swarm waiting for the kickoff. Metalopoulos. And it'll be Swarm coming from the 5. Across the 20 to the 25. Check that. It was Tommy Edwards, as they call him, touchdown Tommy, bringing it back.
And we go back to the touchdown score. One of the toughest things for a defense is crossing routes. So you give the offensive line good credit because Brown was coming on the corner. And here Lewis, very patient, comes across. It's important that you play that flat. This is just sheer speed, folks. He got some help from Eric Matthews. You always like your wide receivers, your buddies to chip in and give you some help. And the rest is just fun.
And we could see Pacey in that 3/4 motion. He doesn't have to go over the top because he didn't throw it all that deep anyway. It was about a 15, 20-yard toss.
Confidence, though. He stayed in the pocket.
Big hole for Dwayne Thomas. He gets close to a first down. 9 yards on first down for Thomas. Brought down by the strong safety, Steve Perkins, a senior from New London, Missouri. But good yardage, 4 carries, already 29 yards for Thomas.
Best wake-up call for an offense is to have to defend some points. And now these guys realize they've got to snap out of it and get going because they don't want this to turn into a track meet.
So now 2nd and short. DeShazo running the option. Thomas breaking the containment. He's got the first down to the 41-yard line. So first down for Virginia Tech inside of 5 minutes left in the first quarter. A 7-0 Indiana lead. Dwayne Thomas with 1,130 yards on the season. The 3rd highest single season total in Virginia Tech history. And as we found out from Frank Beamer yesterday, they are very excited about the participation now in the Big East Conference, their first year in the conference, and he really thinks it's going to pay off in the recruiting process.
Well, that's the key.
Penalty flag on the play as DeShazo breaks a tackle. Penalty flag right at the line of scrimmage. But as Frank Beamer mentioned, he said, you've got teams up in the Northeast. A break for Virginia Tech, offsides Indiana. Teams up in the Northeast like Syracuse, it's going to help their recruiting efforts. Oh, thrifty car rental bowl week continues tonight at 6 p.m. as number 24 Clemson faces Kentucky in the Peach Bowl. That'll all be followed by the Builders Square Alamo Bowl at 9:30. With California taking on Iowa in a matchup of the Big Ten and the Pac-10. So more great college football coming your way later today and this evening on ESPN. 75-yard touchdown catch for Thomas Lewis has Indiana on top. It's 1st and 5 from the 46 for Virginia Tech. The counter for Thomas. He's tough. He does not like to go down the first time. He broke a tackle or two and then is driven down. Not much on the carry, a half-yard at the most.
Well, you start talking about the stingy defense, and we knew coming in that the Hoosiers definitely had a reputation. See, this is everybody staying at home. They're doing the right thing. Alfonso Thurman is the guy who really bottles things up. That's what you want from a middle linebacker.
No gain on that carry for Thomas. It'll be 2nd and 5 from the 46. They like to move the pocket as they're doing now with DeShazo. He's in trouble. And going deep downfield, he's got a man. It's complete, and it dropped. He had it at the 32. It was taken in by Steve Sanders, the senior from Virginia Beach, Virginia. What a move by DeShazo.
Well, let's go. Boy, that's why he just puts havoc. You know, Jay Novacek, defensive coordinator rather for Indiana, realized that you can do your best job. Here you see Mills comes in. He's where he should be. Here Witten comes in. He makes a shot at it. And, you know, this guy still has the presence of mind to look downfield, try to get the open receiver. How often do we see the great ones do this? Now, this is just a plain drop. Sanders has got to make this play. I mean, this kid has been in big-time situations before. That's one that 9 out of 10 times you catch.
So now there's 3rd and 5. DeShazo out of the shotgun. He's got Freeman, and he's got a first down with a flag down on the play. Now did Indiana line up offside once again because the flag came right at the line of scrimmage. And it is offside, Indiana. They'll take the play of the first down.
Start looking at the difficulty here of trying to get a quarterback here in this particular area. You got a defense guys coming up from all angles trying to keep him in the middle. That's the best thing you can do, is try to keep that guy in front of you. And as you watch, the defensive ends do a pretty good job here. He gets a quick pass, and this is just a good athlete realizing that he's in traffic and he wants to get the first down.
So the good toss by DeShazo finding Freeman. Thought it was interesting when the offensive coordinator Ricky Bussell told us last year the first 5 or 6 games DeShazo did not have a clue. He sat down with him. He started to talk with him. He said, we're going to find out over the next 5 or 6 whether you're a Division I quarterback. As DeShazo goes for the bundle, and it's off the fingertips of Antonio Freeman inside the 20 at the 16-yard line. And Freeman, with a great attempt, almost came up with that, but back to DeShazo. They let him know that it was making a break in time for the young man. And over the last 5 or 6, all of a sudden he became a new person. The film study and all his work habits changed.
Well, the difference when you're in high school and you're a great athlete, you can run busted plays and score touchdowns. When you get in the Big East, you run the wrong way and you get a helmet right under your chin. So he definitely had to learn the hard way, paid the price in the classroom, as you mentioned, and the results is we got an outstanding quarterback.
2nd and 10. They move the pocket once again. A bullet is dropped by Freeman, and then a late hit. A late hit on Mose Richardson.
That's not smart.
It's going to be a free 15 on the personal foul, I believe. We'll wait for the official.
Plead his case.
A dead ball, personal foul, late hit out of bounds on the defense, 15 yards and first down.
Call with the senior, all-time career leader in starts out of Dayton, Ohio, Mose Richardson.
That's why coaches have gray hair. Clear miss, 1,001. I mean, you look at this thing, you got 2 seconds, 3 seconds on. You're excited about it, but you got to have the presence of mind that you're playing good defense. You're holding down an offense. You can't afford to just shoot yourself in the foot. That guy's a senior, man. You're just inexcusable.
So 1st and 10 now for Virginia Tech at the Indiana 31. Looking formation for the Hokies. The new tailback in there. Takes it inside the 32, down to the 31, or in all white, the junior from Brooklyn. 5.5-yard average on the season for that young man.
Boy, Smith came up. He brought a sledgehammer with him. One thing about the Big Ten, we talk about conferences, but as a rule of thumb, their corners are going to come up and hit you like linebackers.
Beauchamp, the one shaken up for the Indiana Hoosiers, one of their co-captains. Senior from Oak Hill, Florida. That would be a huge blow. Second on the squad in tackles.
Just a real gutsy guy. They rally around him. He had the unfortunate injury a year ago, ACL against Kentucky, bounced back this season, and pro prospect. You know, he's a pro prospect. They like him, but he's the one guy that Virginia Tech really was concerned about.
So Beauchamp leaves the contest. Taking over now, Jamie Baisley, the redshirt freshman from Glencoe, Illinois. 2nd and 10 for the Hokies. 2:33 left in the opening 15 minutes of play. Pocket held up well on the dump off. Taking it down to the 25, the running back Brian Edmonds, a redshirt freshman from Blackstone, Virginia. They come up a little bit more than 3 yards short of the first down. Good protection, though, for DeJesus. I guess, Rick, they've got to really worry about the way he runs. So you've got to stay in your lane, stay at home. You can't just go all out.
It's a defensive lineman's nightmare because this guy can beat you. He can break all the rules and still get a positive gain. You just have to remain disciplined. So far, the Hoosiers have done just that.
3rd and a long 3. Call it 3rd and 4 now. The fullback gets a call. No, the belly dive series instead. DeJesus on the option keeps it. He's got the first down. Did he ever carry that fake out well?
Boy, that is beautiful. That's the one thing I referred to in the opening series when they had the 3rd and 4. And I said, I would have run the option. This is the reason why. You put a defense on its heels. Now, you got a quarterback who will make the right decision. Rich Dryer comes up, brings some leather on the hit. But that quarterback, I mean, that man, he knew where the marker was, kept the drive alive.
1st and 10 inside the 20. Thomas with a huge hole. Make it 1st and goal inside the 10 all the way down to the 8-yard line. Great blocking up front.
Well, that's a statement run there. If you want to get pumped up on the sidelines, you watch a fullback take a ball in here and just say, I'm not going to be denied. He makes a great move. There are few people in football that can move running full speed, get away from a tackle, lower those shoulders, go north-south. Boy, that's beauty.
So the Hokies starting all the way back at their own 27. Now have it 1st and 10 at the Indiana 8. 7 carries, 45 yards already for Dwayne Thomas. DeJesus looked like he changed the play at the line. He's in trouble, and he'll lose about 4 yards on the play. Irvin McCormick, great pursuit for the big guy. He goes at 6'4", 265, the junior. He's from Brooklyn as well.
That's one thing that there's just no substitute for speed on defense. That time, Jay Davis, as you mentioned, Herbert McCormick, these two guys, they take away the line of scrimmage. They force him to bow out. That allows the defenders to come in and give some help. It's really the equalizer to a talented quarterback.
2nd and goal now, back at the 11-yard line. A 7-0 Indiana lead in the final minute of the first quarter. The pitch for Thomas. They lose 2 more, back to the 13. The Hokies moving in the wrong direction. Great penetration, though, by this Indiana defensive unit.
It really was, but corner play, though. Corner play on that. Mose Richardson comes back and makes a real good play on this. You watch over here on this side, Mo had the dumb play a second ago, got the flag, makes up for it, because as you will see, he comes up right there, makes the stop, eludes the wide receiver. You know, when wide receivers got to block, if you want to have an effective running attack, you got to have unselfish guys on the wing that will hit somebody.
So it is 3rd and goal now in the 14th play of the drive, all the way back outside of the 13. DeJesus for Thomas. Plenty of real estate. Touchdown, Virginia Tech. They looked right and they went left.
Well, he walked the dog on that one. We were talking about wide receivers that would block. Once again, number 3, Steve Sanders comes in, has a real nice block on that. That allows Thomas to come in, and let's be honest about this, it was just a great call. Ricky Bussett caught him right at the right time in the wrong defense. Jim Pine comes out and leads the All-American center, and that was just beautiful on offense.
So Thomas Lewis scores for Indiana. Wayne Thomas. Dwayne Thomas scoring for Virginia Tech. And now Ryan Williams in to try to tie it up, 48 of 53 on extra points through the regular season. And it's all even at the Independence Bowl. 73-yard, 14-play drive.
Sometimes it just helps to, as I mentioned, to have the right call. There you see the play fake to the right. He comes back, hits Dwayne on the flip. He's watching now. See, this is good eyes. He's jogging in. But if you got a big guy in front of you like Jim Pine, you know it's all the band will start playing and you get your picture taken. Everything's perfect for you.
Let's head back downstairs now to Mike Mayock. Mike?
Thank you, Joel. Bad news for the IU defense. Charles Beauchamp strained his left knee. They've got the ice pack on, as you can see right now, and he's out until at least halftime. They will reevaluate at halftime, and we'll let you know whether he can play in the second half. Back upstairs.
All right, Mike. So they go from a senior who's second of the squad, the young man you're looking at now, Beauchamp, second of the squad and stops, to a redshirt freshman, Jamie Baisley. But now the spotlight on Baisley.
Big guy, though, 6'2", 220 pounds. And again, it makes so much to have a guy in front of you as a mentor that you can learn from. And if he's done his homework, he's a tough guy. They like him on defense. He can't replace him, but he can come in and do some good things.
Jermaine Chaney back deep, along with Thomas Lewis. Pair of juniors waiting for the kickoff from Ryan Williams of Virginia Tech. 9 seconds left in the first quarter. So the Hokies starting to gear it up offensively, mixing things up with the pass and the run. And it's going to be brought back by Lewis from the 5. He was put down crossing the 20 at the 25, so a return of 20 yards. For Thomas Lewis, the junior from Akron, Ohio. Special teams have been a real strong suit for the Virginia Tech Hokies this year. They got down the field in a hurry today.
Boy, Maurice McClung, he comes in and makes a great tackle. Whenever you got a guy that runs 10-600 meters, every tackle is valuable. And that time he came up and did it the way you're supposed to do it on special teams.
So Indiana has it, 4th possession of the opening quarter. All 4 have started inside their own 30-yard line. And Pacey with the play fake has a man, and it's off the fingertips of Lewis.
A knuckler on that one. That might be one indication of his arm.
So the wobbler closes it out here in the opening 15 minutes of play. So the offense is starting to pick up the pace over the last 5 minutes of the first quarter. We'll be right back to the Independence Bowl, all tied in. Welcome back once again to the Independence Bowl. Joel Myers along with Rick Walker and Mike Mayock. A 2nd and 10 to start the second quarter for Indiana on the delay. And a loss back outside of the 20, all the way to the 22. Shane Thomas on his first carry of the day, the redshirt freshman from Indianapolis.
A rude greeting on that.
George Del Rico.
George Del Rico, boy. That's one of Coach Almation calls him one of his grunts. I mean, this guy looks like he almost comes out of the ground at you. He's a tough guy. Every team's got to have a middle linebacker that has that demeanor.
So now 3rd and better than 10. About a 3rd and 13 back at the 22. Indiana, with the exception of one play, has had their problems offensively, and Pacey just throws it away with heat coming. Indiana now has had 12 plays offensively. They had one play that covered 75 yards. Their other 11 plays, barely 10 yards of offense. So now DeJulio in to punt it away for the 3rd time. 14-15 left in the opening half. Virginia Tech, once again, we talked about winning the war of field position. Barring the turnovers, should get good field position once again. DeJulio gets a kind roll. So hits inside the 45 and goes out of bounds at the Virginia Tech 41. Well, looking ahead, Thrifty Car Rental Wool Week on ESPN with Craig James on live from Miami at 10 tomorrow morning. The Hokies with the ball back at their own 41. Shazo with a beautiful play fake. And the tight end, Burke. What a nifty move. He's got the first down, I believe. Yes, they'll mark him out at the Indiana 47. Big guy danced well.
Boy, he really did. He looked good on that. And when you look at John Burke and think that this guy's an ex-walk-on and what he's been able to do, second team, all Big East, one of the best blockers in the conference. I mean, people talk about this guy's tenacity. Here he's going to show you some athleticism. I've always said the best athletes on the field play tight end. Here's an example right here. Jumps over a defender. That's Most Richardson, who comes up, who's a tough guy, picks up some yardage.
So the Hokies back in Indiana territory once again. That down for Virginia Tech compared to only 1 for Indiana. Underneath, it's available. All the way down to the 22. So Virginia Tech with Cornelius White taking in, the redshirt freshman from Pendle, Pennsylvania. 26 yards on the catch and run.
We keep talking about freshmen on Virginia Tech's team. They've definitely got a bright future. Here you watch play action fake. Again, a quarterback that can hurt you running. You've got to respect that, so he puts you on your heels. And this kid, watch him. He knows what to do with the football.
This Indiana defense gave up an average of only 14 points a game. First down. Nothing doing for the fullback. Swarm put down in a hurry. In fact, lost a half yard.
Irvin McCormick. This guy's a stud. He comes at you. He plays every play hard. I said very good quickness, takes away that inside gap. And they're stingy. They'll give up a big play, but for the most part, they're going to make you earn it. That's all you can ask from a defensive unit.
Second, a little more than 10. Inside of 13 minutes left in the half. It's even at 7. Wayne Thomas got a couple of extra down to the 15 after he was hit by Davis.
Davis, a good linebacker.
He's their coverage backer.
Yeah, he really is. You know, the one thing about, as you take it and you're Joe Novacek and your defensive coordinator of Indiana, and you've got to worry about Dwayne Thomas, Maurice DeShazer, you got Antonio Freeman. Now you see John Burke as the tight end, Stevie Sanders. So much to deal with.
There's the fullback.
He lost the ball.
He lost it. It's loose at the 11. Does Virginia Tech get it back? Is the fullback Swarm took it all the way down to the 6, but he forgot to keep the ball. And Virginia Tech not only gets the ball back, but they get the first down.
Come on! That's living right. Boy, you get the bounce of the ball. And this is one of those plays we may look back on this in 2 quarters and say to Indiana, hey, you had an opportunity. Whenever you got, again, a great quarterback, you get kind of lazy and think that maybe the defense, we can get away from that. Ball gets on the grass, and right there, you got to get after that ball. Every defensive lineman since day 1 has had those drills when you toss the ball and coaches make you go after it. Man, that's the difference in winning and losing. You got to get after it.
So they put it back at the point where he lost the fumble at the 8, first and goal. Jim Pine, the center, recovered that fumble. Tailback Thomas down to the 6 for a gain of 2.
Does that surprise you? The Pine recovered that fumble. That's why that guy's All-American, man. It's tenacious. If you follow your blocks up, those things will happen.
The big 3 for Virginia Tech. And they have balance when we look at the receiving yardage and the rushing yardage, the touchdown receptions for Freeman. They've got great balance in their running and passing attack. 2,600 yards rushing the ball this year, 2,200 yards passing the ball.
They're good, but it doesn't happen without an offensive line.
It's the fullback Swarm reversing his direction, and he's got the touchdown. Joe Swarm, the senior from Falls Church, Virginia.
Boy, the folks over at George Marshall High School in Falls Church, I know they are tickled to death. That young man, a walk-on, comes in, just wanted to play football. It was a championship and won 2 championships at Marshall High School. Knew he could play this game. Comes up, ends up being a starter, big contributor. When you drop a ball, Joel, and you get a chance, second chance at it, you want to make up for that, and it doesn't get any better.
Show that incredible speed, reverses field.
Oh, yeah, man. He was a blazer.
Ryan Williams for the point after. So Indiana gets on the board first, but now it's 14 straight points for the Hokies of Virginia Tech. The Big East so far in the first half on top of the Big Ten as the Hokies of Virginia Tech have taken the lead for the first time over the Hoosiers of Indiana.
1993 Poulin Weed Eater Independence Bowl.
The Hokies of Virginia Tech taking the lead over the Indiana Hoosiers with 11:14 left in the first half. Joel Myers, Rick Walker, Mike Mayock at the Independence Bowl. Great day. Northwestern Louisiana as Ryan Williams gets ready to kick it off. Game time temperature just about 60 degrees. Jermaine Chaney, and there's Thomas Lewis. Big play man, their home run threat waiting for the kickoff. And Williams booms this baby away. Chaney will take it back at the 2. Cheney
Got a hold.
making a nice move across the 40. All the way into Virginia Tech territory to the Virginia Tech 47. He's got the speed, and he made a couple of nice cuts as well. A 51-yard return.
Well, speed intimidates you, and that's the tough part about it. You find yourself on a coverage team, you get a little tentative because you don't want this guy to get by you, and that's exactly what ends up happening. You know, most of you guys that kill spots play the R1 or the L1. These guys come downfield. They got one thing in mind, try to get a big hit. And you watch there, a little blocking up front, but this is just pure speed. Guy does not mess around. Gets in that hole and makes it happen.
They're throwing on first down to Hales, the tight end, wide open inside the 20, all the way down to the 13 for the Hoosiers. Quick play fake and a roll, and the tight end was there. Ross Hales, the senior from Elkhart, Indiana.
6'7", 265 pounds, lumbering down the sidelines. Broke his hand against Penn State, had missed some time. It really counted him. Senior leadership, and there he shows you can make big plays as well.
Only the second first down of the contest for Indiana on that 34-yard catch by Hales. The fullback Glover, maybe a yard down to the 12. Let's check in again with Mike.
Hey, Joel, thank you very much. You guys remember Fred Biletnikoff in the NFL wearing all that goop on his hands? Well, the NFL legislated against it. Now what you see is all the college players wearing these sticky gloves, and what's happened is the NCAA is going to legislate against it next year. Look at the stick on these things. It's unbelievable. I'm going to give you guys a couple bears for your kids around the dinner table.
Thanks, Mike. The tailback, Michael Batts, on his first carry of the contest, takes it inside the 10 with a couple of nifty moves. Down to the 8-yard line. So it's going to bring up third and a little more than 5 now for the Hoosiers of Indiana.
Lawrence Lewis in on that stop. It's a good point about those gloves, man. You know, you can get hooked on it. In our time, we used to have the old days, the scuba gloves, right before all these gloves came out. And then you start wearing these things in practice, you don't feel like you catch a beach ball if you take them off. It'll be interesting next season.
3rd and 5 at the 8. They double up the wide receivers on the wide side of the field. Thomas Lewis totally to the 8.
Big mistake. You never go back inside. That's where all the bad guys are coming at. Antonio Banks comes in, brings the hammer. Guys getting spirited right now. I like it from a defensive standpoint. That's just an error. You never go back inside.
Ran right back in.
Never, ever in life. Not unless you got some big guys on your side that's going to meet you there. Once again, you're thinking about what can go wrong. You come out pretty basic shot. Lewis makes the grab. He got to make a decision right now, and the decision is to go back out at 14, slip a tackle, and use the sidelines to your advantage.
Manalopoulos in now for a 26-yard field goal try. He's 14 of 19 in the season. He bangs it, and he's got it. Bill Manalopoulos, a redshirt freshman from Hobart, Indiana, brings the Hoosiers to within 4 now. So a 26-yard field goal for Indiana after the great kickoff return set it all up for Jermaine Cheney. So the home run threats have already made a couple of big plays. We saw Thomas Lewis, who we're looking at now, with a 75-yard touchdown reception. Most of that on his running. It was only about a 15-20-yard toss.
Well, you're not going to win if your big play players don't come up big in big games. Ross Hales, again, it's really difficult when you get a big play out of your tight end. You get down and have to settle for 3. I really think Phil Omation, defensive coordinator for Virginia Tech, I'd be happy with that. You get people down in your red area and you only give up 3 points, you can win with that.
So Jermaine Cheney gave them finally good field position for the Indiana Hoosiers. Then they hit the tight end on the big play, going to Ross Hales. They get 3, and it's now 14-10 with 8:47 left in the opening 30 minutes of play. Tommy Edwards back deep once again for Virginia Tech, along with Wayne Thomas. Thomas does a little bit of everything for Virginia Tech, very similar to the way Thomas Lewis works on kickoffs and punt returns for Indiana.
Well, you're going to find that these programs are really trying to build up to the point where they can compete for the top spots in their conferences. And until you get more kids, you're going to put your best players on the field in every spot you can do.
Manalopoulos is ready to kick it away from the 35. It'll be Tommy Edwards over on the far side of the 10. Past the 20, he's pounded. It down at the 22. You know, while we've got a chance, take a look at our Lincoln Mercury students of the game. Jim Pine, the consensus All-America, and the first unanimous All-American selection at Virginia Tech. A marketing major. And John Pacey, the quarterback for the Hoosiers of Indiana, a coach's son, a business management major.
Keep working, Smitty. Let's go. Love, good work, Love.
Father's a good guy. Hopefully we get a chance to Mike speak with him.
Jim Pine, outstanding center, enters it all. Virginia Tech Hokies. Well, the block wasn't there. Burke missed the block, but he still goes across the 30. Steve Sanders on the reception. And he's close to the first down near the 32-yard line. Then he had to worry about the tight end getting in his way.
Well, that's okay.
Those tight ends, as you know, Rick, they never get in the way.
They never get in your way. They always do the right thing. That's a quick screen thing they like to get to in their offense quite often. You also will see a middle screen, which they refer to as a shark, and Antonio Freeman is a key guy on that one. You want to do little things like that, really to unsettle the defense. This is really a good chess match at this point. Joe Novak, coordinator for Indiana, and Ricky Bustle, coordinator for Virginia Tech. These two guys really just trying to feel each other out and figure out where they can get an advantage.
The measurement now to see whether or not Sanders picked up the first down. And he is just short by about a foot. Are you surprised when we look at the numbers for Maurice DeShazo, the quarterback from Virginia Tech? Has down and distance dictated that they haven't gone to the option all that often?
Well, I think that the thing that's really interesting is that when you have contrasting styles, there's not a lot of defensive units that approach it in the Big East like Indiana does. So these two teams, I figured, would spend at least a quarter trying to feel one another out. And that's exactly what has happened. And they're pretty good. You never know how good your opponent is until he hits you in your face. And then you start to get a real quick respect for him. And both teams right now, I really believe they're
second and inches. For wide out to the wide side of the field. And a good down to look to air it out. Instead of sack coming through. Troy Drake with that sack. The junior from Byron, Illinois.
Another big guy, 6'7", 273 pounds, picks up his fourth sack. He's being double teamed. His guy splits a double team. The All-American Jim Pine, one of those guys. That's a huge effort. Boy, Damon McMahon on that. When you can go against these two guys, that's a load. He split him, toyed with him, and got a sack. That's a big play. Big play.
And according to the Hokies official stats over the second sack that Jim Pine is allowed. DeShazo now, and third, and about 6, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Mose Richardson. The Hoosiers get it back at the Hokies 31.
Boy, that was an exceptional play. Once again, penetration. We talked about it earlier, Joel. Whenever you can force this guy out, get him out into the bubble, you're going to have some things. As you're watching this, good break on it. Follows that ball in, trying to get the ball out to White, who is out in the flat. Good catch. How often do you watch a cornerback or defensive safety come in, get close to the ball, and drop it? That's why these guys have to work on their hands just as much as receivers if they're going to be good.
So that is the 8th career interception for Mose Richardson. Chaney belted, falls forward, gets a yard and a half at the most.
Cornell Brown coming in big. I'm really impressed with the play of freshmen in this game. These guys come in, a true freshman, as we talked about earlier, highly recruited. Everybody wanted him, and he decided to go to Tech. He could play immediately. They play this blitzing style. It's a fun style. 46 defense. They get in your face. They come in, and defensive kids really like that.
Second and long, second and 9. The option from Indiana and Pacey. Chaney taking it down inside the 25 as he's bounced out of bounds just short of the 23. A couple of yards shy where he needed to go for the first down. So a little wrinkle now from Indiana throwing the option look.
Yes, indeed. And this is the key area right here. It's got to happen. You're going to have a good force by the outside linebacker. This time he paid for it. Ken Brown comes in, puts a pop on him right there. He gets the ball out. And again, it happens because you get people downfield blocking for you. Wide receivers, that part. Thomas Lewis stayed on his man and picked up a couple yards.
Tight formation with 2 tight ends now on 3rd and a little less than 3. It's Cheney. Huge hole. He's got the first down to the 18 of Virginia Tech. We were talking about it coming over. When you go with that 8-man front, you can pop some big runs once you get past the linebacker.
Well, that's the downside to playing aggressive defense, 8-man up in the box. And what you're going to find out, you're going to find some lanes. You're always looking for a sweet spot. And if you get that sweet spot in, as it snaps up, gets a good block up front, there's the angle right there. I like this kid because he got a good forward lean. Guy always falls forward. Some guys lose yards. The good ones always pick up that extra yard.
Cheney once again on first down. Only 2 this time from the 18 to the 16.
How often do we hear it when we start talking about track athletes?
A holding call against Indiana.
You know, some guys are fast to play football.
Well, don't forget to be with ESPN on Sunday. Your thoughts on that in just a second.
Oh, we're going to talk about buddy ball. Matter of fact, Virginia Tech's giving us some idea of it right here.
1st and 18 now after the mark-off. Casey has a man over the middle, and it's almost picked off. He was looking for Eddie Beatty. It was almost picked off by William Yarborough, the cornerback.
Well, we just talked about it a second ago, about guys in the secondary who make plays, who make that catch. So Yarborough is supposed to make that play. You really want to help your team win, you got to get in and get your paws on it and catch the football. And you live for those. Those are the kind you dream about. I guarantee you was in this room last night thinking, what am I going to do if I pick one off?
Yarborough starting due to the injury to Tyrone Draper, who's just about all the way back. 80-90%. Casey back to throw. Boy, does he ever take a shot. Casey belted that time. Coming through, J.C. Price, the right tackle.
Boy, I love that. You talk about a flush hit. You know, this is what this defense is all about, folks. They want to get pressure on you. If they give up a big play, I mean, nobody wants to. But here's you watch right here. Helmet right under the chin. Those are the kind you hate, and especially quarterbacks. Quarterbacks don't like to get hit.
NFL Sunday, New York Jets, Houston Oilers.
I picked them in the beginning. Didn't jump on the bandwagon from day one. I said Oilers, Cowboys in the big one.
Okay. Oilers just a little bit of mo. They're on a roll.
It's defense.
Casey on 3rd and 18. Casey on his way down at the 23. Trying to manufacture something on his own. Nothing available downfield, and it was Ken Brown in on that hit.
Well, Ken's a guy that their best defensive player, can play the inside backer, super cover man. And the thing about him, he's always around the football. This defense is one that's going to create some bad plays for an offense. It also has the propensity to give up a big play now and then, but just wait until these kids mature.
It's going to be a 40-yard attempt for Menelopoulos. He is long of the season from 48 yards out, and he's got it. 2 in a row for the place kicker for the Indiana Hoosiers. One from 26 and one from 40 yards away. And it's now only a 1-point deficit for Indiana. 5:25 left in the first half. We'll be right back to the end of plays have been the difference for the Indiana Hoosiers, because so far in the first half they have not had a great deal of consistency offensively. The quarterback has been frustrated. That's John Pacey, who we're looking at right now, the junior from Huntington, New York. Granted, Bill Mallory's squad, a physical team that is dominated by their defensive unit. You can see that scoring drive for Indiana after the interception by Richardson. Menelopoulos coming through once again, 2 for 2 in the field goal department from 26 and 40 yards away. But right now, Indiana would like to find some rhythm to that offense the next time they get it back. It's been a sluggish start. Very fortunate to be down by only a point.
They really are. They're going to have to try to get success on the ground. I mean, you're not going to be able to get real cute against a blitzing defense of Virginia Tech.
Tommy Edwards is going to bring it back in the yard into the end zone. They'll make it just barely back at the 20-yard line as we check in once again down to the field with Mike Mayock.
Hey, Joel, Virginia Tech's defensive coach has just told their players, hey, fellas, relax. We got them right where we want them. We're forcing them to throw the ball. We want John Pacey to beat us, not Jermaine Cheney. What do you think of that?
I think it's a good call by Bill Almasian.
No, well, that's exactly what he said. The question was, would Mike have been able to make that interception in the end zone in his glory days?
With the gloves on.
Well, he'd have had to wear gloves. Mike, man, he'd have had to wear gloves.
First and 10 from the 20. Dwayne Thomas. Nothing doing. He's had a great deal of success so far in the first half. That time, Indiana stacks him up right at the original line at the 20. Thomas so far, that was his 10th carry. 44 yards. McCormick was there again. He's been all over the place. First team all Big Ten pick by the writers, the league's media in the Big Ten Conference. He's a junior from Brooklyn. It's his third season as a starter. He's got plenty of experience on the defensive front as well as the secondary. Second and go close to 10. DeJezo running the option. Thomas breaking the tackle. Spinning. What a move by Thomas. All the way out to the 28, 29-yard line.
Yeah, I just like this young man. I like everything about him. As you look at the graphic here, when he rushes the football, they're successful, and that holds true with most good football teams. You have to have a go-to guy that can get the hard yard. We're watching that right now in Indiana. They just don't have the ability right now to establish something on the ground. That was all Thomas. You make two people miss, pick up positive yards.
You call it a hard yard. It's a hard couple coming up here at 3rd and 2. The ball just outside of the 28. Will it be Thomas? DeJezo working with Thomas. He's got the outside, and Thomas has the first down. He's all the way out to the 38. What an extra dimension with DeJezo. Early we saw the way he can move in the pocket and throw the ball, and now running the ball down the line.
Looks really good when you watch it get on the edge, but it all happened up front. Jim Pine and company, these guys, McMahon and Berry, they crush people up front. You got the double team blocks. They get the linebacker to commit himself, and then you get the toss, and you watch outside receivers making blocks. It's just a good back picking up what's available.
Sensational block that time by the wide receiver to seal off that entire right side. The first down run for Thomas at the 38 now. Thomas looking for a little crease, hits it for a couple, and that is it.
You watch the great option teams in college football, and you'll know that their wide receivers are unselfish. They get after people. Nebraska comes to mind. These guys make it their business to wreak havoc on you as a cornerback.
So 1-point lead for Virginia Tech over Indiana, 14-13. 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first half. DeJezo. It's a loose ball. It's a free ball. Indiana diving after it. Did they come up with it? Bernard Whittington says yes. Did Whittington hang on? Yes. The Hoosiers have it. Well, Dwayne Thomas looked like he relaxed a little bit. Forgot that it was a lateral pass, and it almost looked like it was going to be a double pass.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, that time, as you mentioned, mental lap, it's one of the fallacies of running the option. And you have the ability always exists that you can get the ball on the grass. This time, it looks like he was going to have a slant pass to the outside receiver, and he throws back. In his mind right now, right there, that kid feels like he didn't have to go after that football. When in doubt, go after the football. I mean, young guys start trying to be officials, and you just don't win.
So now Indiana starting in Virginia Tech territory for the second time this afternoon. They've got into the 25, and they're going for the bundle, looking for Thomas Lewis, and it's intercepted. Picked off in the end zone. Coming up with a pick.
Well, it looks like Drakeford was in the football game.
Tyrone Drakeford. The pro scouts are here to look at this young man who unfortunately suffered a fractured ankle in the win over Rutgers towards the end of the season.
Well, he's one of the best cover guys in the country.
We'll come right back to take a look at the pick by Drakeford when we return to the Independence Bowl.
Welcome back. Big play right before the break. We had a classic matchup. Thomas Lewis, wide receiver, number 8 to the right of your screen, going up against Tyrone Drakeford, all Big East cornerback. And this is a pretty good route, but what Drakeford does, he gets to the highest point of the football, makes the reception, but watch, folks, right there, it kind of looks like it's in Lewis's lap. That's one that kind of makes you wonder. We're going to take one more look at that. This is too good not to watch twice. You always like to see two good football players going head-to-head, and this time it happens. The fundamentals never really get away from you.
Hokies get it back to DeJezo going for his tight end Burke. He's got it for 6 yards to the 26. Virginia Tech came in averaging 36 points a game. Indiana gave up an average of 14 a game, their best since in the late 60s when they gave up an average of only 10.5 a game. And right now Virginia Tech with 14 already against an outstanding defensive unit of Indiana's. The injured Hokie is Bill Connolly, a redshirt freshman, New Jersey.
Again, none of those young players that have stepped in. He's done a real good job. They're real high on him.
He is the only new addition, though, to the offensive line. That's where they have their most continuity. 4 of the 5 on the offensive line. There's the exception. Connolly were starters last year with DeShazo at quarterback.
Well, they knew that, again, Jay Haygood will come in. He plays a lot, real good pass blocker. So they're not hurt that bad.
And now to 2nd and 4. The ball of Virginia Tech 26. The Hokies leading by a point with 3:14 left in the first half. And play action for DeShazo. He's got the tight end again. Burke's got a first down out to the 34. Well, earlier we were talking about the consensus All-America choice. Jim Pine, the center. There he is for the Hokies of Virginia Tech. Comes from a line of good football players. The family.
That's right. George Jr. played with the Providence Steamrollers. And then the third, George Pine the third, Boston Patriots. Father is here. You know, not to say they pushed the big fella, but they definitely were kind of happy to see him over the football and playing quality ball.
1st and 10 outside of the 33. DeShazo on the option. Nothing doing for Thomas. They didn't bite on that inside belly dive fake.
They are so disciplined. Joe Novak has done a super job with his entire staff because these people, you know, they know where they're supposed to be, and it's so easy to try to do more than your job, and that's when you get hurt. So far, they failed to be there except for one big play.
So now he's going to bring up 2nd and 13. A loss of 3 that time for Thomas. Trips, 3 wide receivers, one of the few times they're really going for Virginia Tech. DeShazo going underneath the running back Thomas. He's got it to the 38. Short of the first down by 5.
Richardson up again. You know, the interesting part about any good defense, and I'm sure all coordinators will agree, that when you can get pressure with your front 4 or 5 guys, and it allows you to really be tight in the secondary. And so far, DeShazo really hasn't had anybody open, with the exception when he gets outside the pocket and makes things happen on his own. So that's a really good way to approach this game defensively.
Down in distance, 3rd and 5. You read the option here?
I do, if I got a guy like that to help.
Okay, well, they run it. 3rd and 5. Drop back instead. DeShazo calls his own number anyway. He's got the first down across the 45 out to the 48.
That's an option. Quarterback run. And once again, this young man does so many things, because once again, you've got to keep him within the tackles. And if you don't do that, you're going to be in trouble. He goes back. You have no idea where he's going to go, but it puts you in a control rush. Here you watch people are in a position, but they don't know what to do. They stay engaged in the blocks, and he just takes what they give him.
Inside of 2 minutes to play, DeShazo working out of the shotgun with pressure coming. And he takes a hit at the end of the play for Lamar Mills. He throws the ball away. It'll bring up 2nd and 10, and we check in once again with Mike.
Hey, Joel, Virginia Tech just lost talented offensive lineman Bill Conate. They took him off the field. Apparently, his shoulder has slipped out of place. They will evaluate him at halftime, and we'll let you know if he gets back in the second half.
2nd and long, 2nd and 10. Flag down on the play as Lamar Mills got the quarterback. Was it a holding call, though, against Virginia Tech?
Yes, indeed.
It was complete to Antonio Freeman, and it is a hold against the Hokies. Don't forget, coming up, the Duracell halftime report. That'll be coming up. The latest news from the Orange Bowl. All the other bowl activity as well. We only have 1 minute and 48 seconds left in the first half here, so stick around for the Duracell halftime report. Let's look back on that holding call.
Well, Lamar Mills is going to be the guy that makes it happen. And once again, when you start getting yourself into the pattern where you're going to throw the football as an offensive lineman, you want to keep people in front of you. Here, you just watch him, just athleticism. There's that hand right there, hand kind of pulling at that belt buckle, and they got you.
That hand in the back pocket has got him.
Oh, yeah.
From the referee.
Yes, indeed. Chris Berry is the guilty party.
So second and long. Freeman never developed.
Perkins read it all over it.
Perkins, a strong safety, a senior from New London, Missouri. And a timeout has been called now, I believe, by Indiana. Yes, Indiana stops the clock. They're trying to get the ball back. When we come back, it's going to be 3rd and 18 for Virginia Tech. Welcome back as DeJeza just went for the bundle on 3rd and long and came up empty, overthrowing everybody. So Virginia Tech giving the ball back now to Indiana. Indiana using that timeout to stop the clock, and now there's only 1:14 left. Indiana, though, should get good field position, and they've got their home run threat waiting for the punt now. Valley to punt with a flag down to the play. A low line drive to Thomas Lewis, a returnable tie from the 30. And Lewis running out of bounds across the 33 at the 34, but there was a flag back at the original line of scrimmage.
That's good coverage to force him to the boundary.
Offside, Indiana. Now does Virginia Tech want to take the chance? I don't know if they want to give Thomas Lewis another opportunity to bring it back.
I don't.
So Virginia Tech will decline the penalty.
Offsides on the defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Now can Indiana get it going over the last 63 seconds, because they have not had a great deal of rhythm offensively so far in the first half.
That's being kind. I mean, it really is. You're always searching as an offensive coordinator to try to find something that can set up a big play. So far, they've really had no continuity in things. They're trying to grab for big plays. I'd go back to the tight end. When they do that, things have happened pretty well for them.
Casey is going to operate out of the shotgun. They'll run it. He breaks tackles, and Pacey gets 8, almost 9 yards. Call it 8 to the 41.
Banks on the stop. IU has two timeouts remaining. I still want to throw the football.
Second and short. Pacey working the sideline, and it's dropped by his receiver. And now they're going to say he took it in. He bobbled it and came up with it. What a grab there by Eric Matthews, the sophomore from Boynton Beach, Florida. He bobbled it, but he held on. We were blocked out by the Indiana Hoosiers on this near sideline.
Well, sometimes it happens because you've got your mind on the out of bounds line. You want to maybe toe tap or catch the ball and get outside. You take your eyes off the football.
Indiana now with 1 timeout remaining as they stop the clock with 35 seconds left. So they've got it first down, just nudging inside Virginia Tech territory. This is the second trip to the Independence Bowl for Virginia Tech. They were back here in 1984 with Bruce Smith, who was the Outland Trophy winner that year. They lost that game 27-3. They are 1-5, only 1-5 in bowl appearances. Indiana bowling in 6 out of the last 8 seasons. So they have started to find some consistency in their program under Bill Mallory over the last 10 years.
And it helps because you know how to coach the kids with that 2.5-week layoff. You also how to get the hype down. I remember our experience back with Dick Vermeil. We played in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State in '76, and we all wanted to celebrate here. We thought we were king of the hill, and he made us. It was a rude awakening. Hey guys, you want to get to the game and win it, then you celebrate.
I wouldn't even bring up the Rose Bowl then, do you, you former Bruin, you?
Well, we did win it.
Well, the Rose Bowl tomorrow.
Oh, that's a biggie.
UCLA and Wisconsin.
Well,
you're pretty objective about that one.
Well, UCLA won football.
It's 1st and 10.
That's an objective analysis.
Pacey out of the shotgun, look out. And Pacey on his way down, loses the ball. It's inside the 25. It's picked up by Ken Brown, or check that. Picked up by Lawrence Lewis, and it's a touchdown for the Hokies. Dwayne Knight forced the fumble,
Well, he slipped. He got back up. I mean, you're talking about a tenacious effort. That kid never quit. Thomas was coming in. He slipped. He stayed up. Once again, George Del Rico was right in the middle of things. Ill-advised pass by John Pacey. He got kind of caught. Didn't know whether he wanted to throw, whether he wanted to hold on to it. Nothing good happens when you're indecisive. But that's what a penetrating defense, a stunting, blitzing 46-type scheme will do to a quarterback.
So now Ryan Williams in for the point after try. Lawrence Lewis, a sophomore from Hampton, Virginia, with the touchdown on the fumble and return. The kick splits the uprights. So it was a 20-yard return after the fumble recovery by Lawrence Lewis. And Pacey and the Hoosiers shot the final minute of play of the first half. But it goes back to what we were talking about. Not a great deal of confidence right now in what's going on offensively. And he couldn't find his primary, and by the time he got to his secondary, nothing there either.
Yeah, well, you put pressure on a quarterback. I mean, once again, if we watch him come off the corner, Dwayne Knight, there he slips. Now, what's interesting, folks, watch him. He's going to get back up. See, that's a good defensive play. He doesn't quit on the play. Everybody, Del Rico's got him holding his arms, and the quarterback, you want to make a big play. It's a bowl game. You just got to say to yourself, get to halftime. We'll come back out, retool, and try to win the football game. And this is when those defensive drills pay off. And then you get lucky. You get a good bounce.
You get to celebrate on New Year's Eve day. The defensive end takes it in for a touchdown.
Well, whenever a defensive guy scored touchdowns, and they always show that they're not accustomed to being there, and they over-celebrate the whole bit. But that's defensive people, baby.
Tough guy. Very tough.
He really is. A good football player. They didn't quit on it. That's the key point about it. Pressure. Al Mason stressed that we're going to keep coming no matter what. That time it paid dividends.
Well, he said we're going to show a blitz on every down for John Pacey, and sometimes there's going to be two blitz players looking at John Pacey.
Well, that's the bottom line to it. Rod Sharpless, their defensive line coach, mentioned that they're going to keep people in those lanes. They're going to keep coming. They'll crack, they'll scratch, they'll crawl, whatever it takes to get after him. And that's a great indication.
Chaney and Lewis waiting for the kickoff. Ryan Williams trying to keep it away from those two as it bobbled to the 20-yard line. Taking it across to the 30. Making some noise across the 50. All the way into Virginia Tech territory. Returning it for Indiana, Kenyatta Williams, a St. Louis native from Vashon High School. A young man who had a start against Wisconsin. That was his only start of the season.
He almost took that one to the house. If he just could have got on the outside, may have had some good things happen for him. But still, field possession is key. Pacey's got a chance now, if he'll settle down, to come right back in again and make something happen, possibly get a field goal range.
Exactly. 12 seconds left. Maybe a 10 to 12-yard square out to set up a field goal try.
Well, you definitely don't want to get caught in the middle of the field.
Pacey out the shotgun. Has to get to the sideline. Do they stop it? No. Now they have to stop it. Use the timeout. And they don't stop it in time. That's the end of the half. Indiana did have one timeout left.
Yeah, they did. Well, you got to know that. I mean, you just have to know that as a receiver. You got to get out of bounds. A tight end comes up. Dan Thompson, he had presence of mind to try to state the fact that we want to get that timeout, and they may get it.
Well, they are going to get it now.
Have a red timeout. There's 1 second left on the clock. 1 second on the clock.
Frank Beamer and the Hokies are trying to get off the field as quickly as possible.
I don't blame them.
It didn't work.
I'd be in the locker room, man. That's good coaching, man. You get your people out of there ASAP.
Another look with the time inserted.
Well, here he's running. In his mind right now, he's got to make a beeline, get out of bounds. I mean, you don't want to get cute about it. Good tackle, though. You see, we're kind of cut off. But watch the tight end again. Ken Brown was in on that tackle. I tell you, those tight ends are smart guys. See, they know where to be at on the game. Dan Thompson comes up and makes it.
Let's go down and check in once again with Mike Mayock.
Thank you, Joel. You know, it's kind of funny. I think the refs made the right call because they did make the timeout call right in front of the head referee. But the funny thing was the Virginia Tech guys went flying off the field. I think their starting unit was already in the locker room and having a cold drink.
That's good coaching.
That's right. By the way, just a quick note on the weather here, guys. The wind is at IU's back. Okay, it's about an 8 to 10 mile an hour wind, so that'll help the field goal kicker here, Menelopoulos.
His career best is 48 yards, Mike. He is going to be trying one of better than 50 yards now. So it's going to be a 51-yard try now. As Menelopoulos is trying for a new career best. He's had good distance on his 40-yarder. He cleared it by a good 10 yards.
You know, his father was a great soccer player over in Greece, and so this young man's been swinging that leg for some time. Let's see if it pays off.
And it's blocked. Blocked by the Hokies. Virginia Tech bringing it back. And bringing it back, it's Antonio Banks.
He's got a good
Antonio Banks with blockers out in front. He may go the distance. And he does. Another touchdown for the Hokies.
What a block.
Do you believe it?
Aren't they happy they came out of the locker room so they could get 4 points? Boy, it's college football. This is the beauty of it.
Now there is a flag down on the play. Let's see what it's all about inside the 20-yard line.
It certainly didn't look like a clip. It looked like a great block. Dorian Gray for Tech just ran over one of the Hoosiers. Again, these are things that you go over. Good football teams constantly, they call it, you know, a red drill, where if you get an interception, your defense goes right on offense and starts trying to find people out and do it the right way so you don't get the flags.
There is an Indiana player down at around the 11-yard line. We can't see from here the number yet. The referee still hasn't made a call. Here we go.
And we got 2 dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct fouls on the scoring team. They'll be penalized at the start of the second half. 2 unsportsmanlike conduct fouls.
They'll take those 2.
All of those points. I mean, this is one thing that's interesting. 36 blocks under Frank Beamer, you know, in 7 seasons. Once again, you have to give a lot of credit to all the extra practice time that requires. Bud Foster, special teams coach, guys staying out after practice, really understanding that you can gain an edge if you take special teams seriously. And this is one indication of it.
Unfortunately, we have a serious injury to an Indiana player down around the 10-yard line. Now let's look back at that block of the field goal and then the return by Banks. The middle of the line got it.
Let's have to see who got a paw up on that. But once again, presence of mind to run with the football. How often do you watch guys, you know, that don't know what they're going to do? Watch it right there. I mean, that's just good football. That is really good football. Ken Brown on the block. We think Holland may have got his hand up. 6'4", 285-pounder, redshirt sophomore. And this is what it's all about. You celebrate, you know, in victory.
So Antonio Banks with the long return for the touchdown. Antonio Banks, we were talking about him earlier, a true freshman who makes the defensive calls for the Hokies. He was highly recruited out of high school, and until he blew out his knee.
He really did. He had an ACL.
All of a sudden, nobody was offering a scholarship except for Frank Beamer.
That's right, Frank Beamer, because Phil Almation at the time was defensive back coach with Syracuse, and Syracuse was hot on his trail. Almation then gets a job at Tech, and didn't forget Antonio Banks. Brought him in the first spring scrimmage. This kid came up at cornerback and just flattened a couple of backs. He said, "Hey, coach, that's our free safety." It's Tom McKinnon.
Tom McKinnon, the left tackle, a junior from Massillon, Ohio.
Talk about good football country. 300-pounder, 6'6", redshirt junior.
The coach and native of Sandusky, Ohio, Bill Mallory.
But this is the unfortunate part about sports in general. You recognize it, you blank it out of your mind as a player, and you just have to go for it. But things do happen. We just hope that it's not anything that's threatening his career, and possibly maybe he comes back in the second half.
So Ryan Williams now with the extra point try with a flag down to the play. He boots it through. But there is a flag down. So that is 2 scores from the defensive unit for Virginia Tech in the last 23 seconds of the half.
Pressure. it never fails.
Offsides on the defense. Extra point is good.
So that is finally the conclusion of the first 30 minutes of play. So some electrifying moments for Virginia Tech. The downside, of course, on the opposite sideline for Bill Mallory and the Indiana Hoosiers. Coach Frank Beamer imploring Antonio Banks, take it, buddy, take it, you've got it. The other side, though, the opposite reaction from Bill Mallory is Beamer and the Hokies celebrate. Mallory can't believe it, though.
Can't believe it.
14 points in less than 30 seconds to close out the half against his team. And a frustrating first half for Indiana as they're down by 15. Lead for the Virginia Tech Hokies over the Indiana Hoosiers. Joel Myers along with Rick Walker, and a wild finish to the first half. In fact, 2 touchdowns for the Hokies of Virginia Tech over the final 23 seconds.
Well, you don't want to have that happen if you're on the opposite side. Coach Beamer has got to be livid over the fact he was 1 second away from making it in at halftime. Free, but it didn't happen. You just look at a pressure defense. I think Coach Almation made it very clear to us. They were going to come after Indiana. They did it, and they just reaped the benefits of being an aggressive defense, forcing turnovers, and playing great special teams.
Now, let's look at the timeout, first of all, that was called by Indiana as they tried to set up for a field goal. First, the final, as the clock ticked down, the final 5 seconds after the reception. Now, the player was not out of bounds, Rick. You can see the official waving his arm to keep the clock rolling. The coaches, as you can see over on the left side, the coaches are also trying to call a timeout, as Indiana did have 1 timeout remaining to set up for a 51-yard field goal try. So finally, they do get the timeout. So you can see the coaches trying to get the timeout. Well, little did they know what would happen when they did get that reprieve and get the timeout.
Well, it made sense. They had been successful on 2 other field goals, and that's just a thing you try to do. But I still marvel over the fact that Tech was able to come back and make this kind of play. You get the block, and then once again, you've got a freshman who makes the calls on defense. Now, Tony has done so many good things today. Here he makes the run, gets some key blocks. You win with team efforts, and this time the defense was able to convert, go on the offensive, and make some plays.
So Antonio Banks with the touchdown. Let's head back downstairs and check in with Mike Mayock. Mike?
Thank you, Joel. Well, at the top of the program, we talked about the importance of special teams. And what happens? Frank Beamer gets his 36th block kick in his career here at Virginia Tech. Now, I had a chance to talk to Bill Mallory, head coach at Indiana, at halftime. He said, hey, we got a couple big plays went against us at the end of the half. We've got to keep our poise. I'm going to preach poise at halftime and tell them not to try and get it back at one time. One note. 2 consecutive 15-yard penalties on that last play of the half will be enforced on this kickoff here at the start of the second half. Watch IU for some kind of pooch kick or maybe even an onside kick. Back up to you, Joel.
All right, Mike. So plenty of crazy developments at the end of the first half that will carry over, as you understand, to the second half. The Virginia Tech Hokies with 2 scores over the final 23 seconds, leading at 28-13. And the storyline thus far, well, the big plays by the defense and special teams, Rick, for Virginia Tech, and the lack of the ground game for Indiana.
Well, it was really an evenly matched first half up until the final, minute and a half, because Shazo, for the most part, had been contained. Indiana very disciplined on the defensive side, took away the option. But what they didn't count on was the fact that I think Pacey really was enabled to get some things going downfield. And I think the pressure defense on the side of Virginia Tech was absolutely fantastic. With the exception of 1 bad play, Coach Almation had to be tickled to death.
So now 30 yards in penalties because of the celebration and also a personal foul against Virginia Tech. And then a 5-yard mark off. So take it 30 down to the 35. Then a 5-yard mark off for Indiana on the offside at the extra point at the end of the half. There's no reason why Indiana should not go with an onside kick here.
Absolutely. You know, at the absolute worst, all you give up is 10 yards.
Let's see if Bill Mallory and his coaches are thinking
we'll see if we should be coaching or up here in the booth.
Manilopoulos ready to start the second half. No, they're not setting up like it's going to be an onside kick. It's going to be a little pooch. And a fair catch is called for, and Tommy Edwards takes it at the 11, but that is surprising that they wouldn't go for the onside kick.
It really is. You pick up 11 yards at the most on field position, but I don't like it, especially when you're trailing. You look at the statistical battle right here on completions. It's pretty obvious right now that Indiana has been inept in terms of getting things done in that regard. 70. Boy, the rushing yardage is the one thing right now that jumps out at you. But 5 yards, man. When you got a guy like Cheney in the backfield who can rush the football, you're usually going to be in bad shape.
So here we go with the start of the second half. DeShazo in the offense out there for Virginia Tech with a 15-point lead. Dwayne Thomas getting 3, almost 4 to the 15-yard line. Now, we saw the 133 total yards of offense for Indiana in the first 30 minutes of play. Let's not forget, though, 109 of those yards came on 2 plays. The 75-yard touchdown to Lewis and the 34-yard pass right after the long return by Cheney, the 34-yard pass to the tight end. So on the 26 plays, we only had 24 net yards.
No, this has definitely not been an offensive clinic. This is one tape that you will not send out around the country and try to recruit on it. But what it does show you is that defense really wins for you. Tough, hard-nosed play, you know, will pay off. And I think that Indiana still has a chance to get back in this football game if they can run.
Full start on the offense. 5 yards. Still second down.
So it'll be second and 11, almost 12 back at the 10-yard line. But it goes back to what we were talking about before. So little consistency and continuity in the offense, besides what Pacey was lending them with the passing attack. No ground game at all for Indiana. Now Virginia Tech with the opportunity up by 15 with a strong start to the second half to put it away early.
Well, Bill Mallory, based on the fact he's going to play field position game now and rely on his defense. His defense did okay in that first half.
DeShazo on the swing with blockers out in front. Swarm across the 20, close to the first down, and I believe he's got the first down. Yes, he does, near the 23-yard line. 12 yards on the catch and run by the fullback, Joe Swarm.
You can watch this as this play gets underway. You want to be patient as an offensive lineman. Never give it away. Barry and McMahon come out. They pick up blocks. And Joe Swarm shows you a little niftiness. He scored in the first half. And if you recall, they were successful in a scoring play to Dwayne Thomas on that very same play.
So a little breathing room now for the Hokie offense as they come out in the I with one wide receiver to each side. DeShazo running it out to Thomas. He'll take 2 on that carry to the 25, and that is it. Well, they ran the option a little bit more down the stretch as Mose Richardson forced out the running back, but we did not see the option from DeShazo hardly at all in the first quarter of play.
No, you really didn't, and a lot of people may wonder why run it to the tight side. You know, you have a numbers game that works to your advantage. If you're working into the boundary, you've got a good back, and sometimes you can pop one.
They doubled up the wide receivers on the wide side of the field on 2nd and 8. The delay for the fullback. Joe Swarm with some nice moves. He's got another first down across the 35, all the way to the 38-yard line. Somebody ought to tell Joe Swarm he's a fullback and not a tailback with these cuts he's making.
Boy, George Swarm's coming up making some big plays, and whenever you watch a football game and you'll watch this, I want you to keep your eyes right here in the middle of the field. This All-American Jim Pine makes a phenomenal block. He will take this play on, I mean, folks, he would take this play on 7 yards and allow Swarm to get in, go north-south. Whenever you get these fullback types moving in the right direction, it's going to cause you some problems in the secondary.
1st and 10, Virginia Tech at their own 38, starting with the ball back at their own 11-yard line. DeShazo running again to the short side of the field with the option attack. As Thomas spins for a couple of extra across the 40. He's put down by the outside linebacker, Jay Davis, and Jason Orton, the cornerback on that side. But it goes back to what you were talking about. They go with the right-handed quarterback, and they go left to the short side of the field, which is an interesting call.
Well, sometimes you do things as a coordinator to set up a big play. which you'll ultimately want to get back on the wide side. But you do pick up a numbers game, works to your advantage, running into the boundary, because most defenses will overshade you to the wide side.
They say he went out of bounds just across the 39, so it's just second and long. 3 wide receivers setting up, no tight end in the formation. Thomas breaking across the line. He's got another first down into Indiana territory inside the Hoosiers 49. So they show pass in the formation, and they run Thomas.
Well, the key about it is when you can run good with the fullback, it's going to set up your eye back. And you've got a good one, and Thomas, again, runs really well, makes moves, makes people miss. The good backs don't come down with arm tackles. That was a good example right there.
12 yards on the carry for Dwayne Thomas. He's got 19 now for 65 yards on the day.
Chris Berry, offensive strong side offensive tackle for Virginia Tech, limped off. Appears to have a leg injury. We'll keep you posted on that.
So at least in the early going into the third quarter, Virginia Tech controlling the trenches, and that's been the case, as you can see. Big difference in first down, 16-4 for Tech.
An offensive line, Mike Byanchin comes in, number 77, out of Pitt.
Dwayne Thomas again, put down by Derek Terrell, junior from Monroe, Ohio. Only a yard or two at the most on that carry. The tight end Burke will bring in the play. They featured Burke in that second quarter extensively.
Yeah, you read my mind. You start thinking about the tight end. Both teams had some moments, had big plays, both with Thompson and Burke, where they picked up some yardage, and I like to see them go back to the tight end. Tight end and the fullback, unsung heroes in most offensive game plans. If you go to them in the clutch, you usually do well.
Edmonds and White, the combination of the backfield for DeShazo, is looking to go deep. He's got a man, and it's intercepted. Picked off across the 30. The interception for the quarterback, Jason Orton, the senior from Terre Haute, Indiana. And Indiana has it back.
Boy.
Let's head back downstairs to Mike Mayock.
Thank you, Joel. Joining me today is Independence Bowl Chairman Mike McCarthy. And Michael, 19 bowl games. I count at least 5 with 5 losses. How did you get such a good, attractive lineup today?
Well, we worked at it, Mike. What we did, we made the decision early in the year that we would not line up with any conference. We had 4 opportunities to line up with various positions.
Okay, Michael, we'll come right back down, okay?
All right, Mike, 1st and 10 for the Hoosiers. Pacey on the play fake has a man and overthrows Thomas Lewis. And Lewis almost has to play defensive back on that as we go back down to Mike.
So, Michael, you were saying you didn't have an allegiance.
That's absolutely correct. We felt that we should control our own destiny. And as you can see, we got 2 top-ranked teams. And I'll tell you, we're absolutely ecstatic with the way this thing's going.
Well, tell me a little bit about the conferences represented by these 2 teams.
Well, you know, it's another first. It's the first game between the Big East and the Big Ten. And, you know, everybody's excited about it. The conferences are excited. We don't think we could have done any better than we did for this year.
I'll tell you what, Mother Nature has cooperated. You got a great walk-up crowd today. How about the excitement at the end of the first half?
I mean, you know, 2 touchdowns in the last 24 seconds. Now, you know, last year, Wake Forest was down by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. So in our bowl game, we say anything goes. A lot can happen in this second half.
Hey, Michael, great job. Thank you very much. And we look forward to some more of that excitement. Back up to you, Joel.
All right, he was talking about that unbelievable comeback last year as Wake Forest defeated Oregon 39-35. Let's look back at that pick now for Orton.
Well, the key on this is that, once again, DeShazo has his tight end, as we mentioned, out the flat, but he tried to think this ball in. That's when the quarterback feels like his arm is better than the obvious. You got a double drop, got a defensive back that fell off in that, and really ill-advised throw, and they pay the price.
Chaney dragged down from behind. Good lateral pursuit and containment by the Virginia Tech defense. A very quick defense, and as we found out from talking to the coordinator yesterday, they have gone after athletes. Phil Amazian went and saw Jim Lambright's defensive unit at the University of Washington a couple of years ago, and he realized that they had great athletes with great speed, not necessarily great down linemen. So he started taking players that maybe were normally backers, and he made them defensive ends.
A la Miami, you know, and Jimmy Johnson, what they were able to do. You go out and recruit an outstanding strong safety and put him at outside linebacker, an outstanding defensive end and put him as a defensive tackle. It's worked well, and as you see today, you got some athletes who give you great speed and super coverage.
Pacey throwing it over the head of Thomas Lewis. Lewis felt he was shoved from behind.
And he was. He got away with one on that.
It looked like Del Rico gave him a little bit of a shove. The linebacker, he ran off the field as quickly as he could.
That's smart. Those little linebackers, when you can't run with these fleet-footed receivers, you know, you got to cheat a little bit. So you throw a bone and you stick an arm out or a leg. If you get away with it, it's a great play. If not, it's a bonehead move.
Well, 3 of the first 4 possessions of the game resulted in 3 snaps and a punt for Indiana. And now their first possession of the second half, very similar. 3 snaps and a punt after a big interception. DeJulio in to punt it again. Steve Sanders waiting back deep for Virginia Tech. They don't go after the punter. The wobbler takes a hop. Sanders will take it, making the first man miss. Positive yardage. A good 5-yard return by Steve Sanders from the 22 out to the 27. The Hokies have it back.
PN's exclusive presentation of Bowl Week, the 1993 Pool and Weed Eater Independence Bowl.
The Hokies of Virginia Tech have been controlling things in the trenches, and they're on top of the Hoosiers of Indiana by 15 as Virginia Tech has it back 1st and 10 from their own 27. DeShazo going over the top of Steve Sanders, his wide receiver. He took a shot at the end of the play, but I still like what Virginia Tech is trying to do to open things up.
Well, they want to keep Indiana on their heels and keep them honest. Personally, I think if you got a running back the way they do, a fullback in Swarm and also a running back in Thomas, I'm going to beat you up on that offensive line. I'm going to punish you and try to take some of that clock off. But then again, there's a reason we're up here and they're down on the sidelines making these calls. 2nd
and 10, and they have been running the ball effectively on 2nd and long.
Yes, they
only going here in the second half. Play fake to the leg. DeShazo in trouble, throws it away very wisely.
He's out of sync. That's 3 bad throws now in a row. And you're going to have to look at yourself now and figure out, how do I get my momentum back? You know, because what happens to your defensive unit, they need some time on that wood. Give them some time to get that energy. You got a blitzing unit. Defensive guys love you when you chew up the clock and get first downs.
10:19 left in the 3rd quarter. 3rd and 10 now.
Right time of possession. Sometimes it can be misleading, but in this one, it is factual. And they've been chewing it up, and Indiana's offense has been inept.
3rd and 10. Tech 27. DeShazo going for the bundle with Freeman. He's angled out of the play effectively as it falls incomplete.
That was an awful series.
Back there on the coverage, along with Chris Dyer, the safety, helping him out.
Yeah, awful series. And you don't get anything accomplished with that. You don't put pressure on the defense. If I've got an option quarterback, I want to constantly keep you on the defensive, put pressure on you, have him step back and throw. But then again, maybe they're trying to set something up. But if I'm Indiana, I'm licking my chops.
So now Colley in the punted away from Virginia Tech. The home run threat's back there. Thomas Lewis waiting back inside the 35 for the Hoosiers. He'll take it from the 32. But he is spun down, a big hit across the 40 at the 41-yard line. So a 41-yard punt, a 9-yard return by Lewis. Great field position now for the Indiana Hoosiers once again. Let's get an Indiana Hoosier injury update with Mike Mayock.
Champ, starting defensive end, will miss the entire second half, as will offensive lineman Tom McKinnon. They're both out with identical sprained medial collateral ligaments. Back up to you.
Some bad news for the Hoosiers, to say the least. They're down by 15, lose a couple of players. Casey moving the pocket. Downfield is tight end Hales. Beyond the linebackers, it's a first down in Virginia Tech territory at the 46. Good touch pass with a flag down to the play back at the original line of scrimmage.
It really was, especially throw across his body.
Yes, on the run like that. Will it be wiped out?
Illegal touching, a forward pass on the offensive team. 5-yard previous spot. Loss of down. Yes, second down.
Who's it on? Bill Mallory wants to know.
You don't want to be that player, I can guarantee you that. Must have been a leprechaun on this one. I don't have a feel for this. He's rolling out as you watch. He looks down. Good indication. Let the quarterback know that you're open. And if anybody got a hand on it, it was Del Rico. Now, it may have been a penalty for a duck. But then it just shouldn't matter if it's a duck or a knuckleball if it gets to the receiver.
A strange mark-off. Tough one to understand. A 5-yard penalty against Indiana, so instead of a first down to the 46 of Virginia Tech. They've got it now. 2nd and long as Pacey looks to throw.
And that was a rifle.
100-mile-an-hour fastball to his tight end, who was about 5 yards away.
Well, he heard us. You know, he wanted to let us know that he could throw the football despite having an injured shoulder. And that's the one thing we want to make sure that we let all of our viewers in on, is the fact that this young man took a tough blow against Purdue in their season finale. Missed the 4th quarter. Chris Ditto came in and did a pretty good job, and we were told by Bill Mallory that we could very well see Chris play today. So far, he's yet to hit the field for the Hoosiers.
John Pacey almost ended up at Florida State. Went to a couple of summer camps for Bobby Bowden.
Oh, yeah.
But he was a high school player. Pacey on 3rd and long. Trying to make something happen for the Hoosiers. And it's complete. Is it taken in? Yes. What a grab by Eric Matthews, a sophomore from Boynton Beach, Florida.
What a throw by John Pacey. You talking about throwing a frozen rope, rolling out to his right, keeping the ball right on the sidelines under tremendous pressure by Cornell Brown and J.C. Price. Hokies, boy, this is a good one. This is one of those keepers. You know, you separate yourself from the rest of the pack. Whenever you can roll out, keep focused, know somebody's breathing on you, and throw the ball across your body and hit a guy 35, 40 yards downfield. That kind of accuracy, man, that's a keeper. And again, the receiver has the ability to come back, help your quarterback out. How often do you watch receivers running away from a quarterback, just leaving him out to him?
Pacey, they try to set it up on the left side for Cheney. He'll take it inside the 40 on 1st and 10 from the 40. They get a couple of yards down to the 38, put down by Torian Gray, the roverback. And Cornell Brown as well, the end on that side. Eric Matthews, the one who caught it downfield on that previous play, the 24-yarder, to set things up with 1st and 10. He only had 2 catches all year long. He's got 2 catches today.
And he also has 2 big blocks. I mean, he's been very, very good on play away from him. But I just like John Page. This guy's a winner. He's competing. He's injured, but he keeps coming back.
Cheney hammers it ahead. Something we thought we'd see regularly from this Indiana Hoosiers squad, but only 3 on that carry by Cheney. Thrifty Car Rental Bowl Week continues tonight at 6 o'clock on ESPN as number 24 Clemson takes on the Wildcats of Kentucky in the Beach Bowl. That'll all be followed by the Builders Square Alamo Bowl at 9:30. For the Pac-10, the Big Ten matching up. Iowa going up against the Golden Bears of California. More great bowl games tonight on ESPN. Critical 3rd down, 3rd and 5. Pacey out of the shotgun, has a man. Complete right at the marker.
Might be short.
It looks like it's about a half a yard short. Taken in over on that far side by Greg Hobbs, a senior from Indianapolis.
Boy, this is interesting. You know, this is Hobbs' first reception.
First catch of the year and only the 2nd of his career.
Exactly. So if he comes up short, we won't be able to say too many things about it. And he did. That's the receiver's responsibility. You got to know where the sticks are. You definitely want to get there so if you make the catch, you get the first down.
Cheney lines up at the eye behind Glover. They're going for it on 4th and about a half yard.
They've been 50-50 so far in the regular season on 4th down.
It's Cheney. They stand him up. Will he fall forward? No. They push him back. I don't think he got it.
Boy, Torian Gray comes up. He brought Sledgehammer with him. I don't know. It was a good second effort. This will all depend on the spot.
It doesn't look like they got it. No. Virginia Tech takes over.
Boy, that's in-your-face football. That's just defensive people coming up and just taking your dreams away. I mean, a good back one-on-one. I mean, you got to get that yard. You got to find a way to get that yard. Here's we watch it once again out of the I formation. This kid gets great acceleration, comes up. Penetration is the culprit. Right there, you get a flush hit on 4th and 1. You cannot allow a guy to come to secondary and get a flush hit. Gotta love that sound. Gotta love that sound, man. That's football.
1st and 10, nothing doing for Dwayne Thomas and Virginia Tech. No gain on that carry. If anything, a loss of a half yard. Called it 2nd and 11 as Bernard Whittington, one of the bookends. Or Indiana made the stop on an interesting pair of bookends. Bernard Whittington on the left side, Lamar Mills on the right side. Whittington, the very quiet one, who came in at about 210 pounds. He's up to 250 now. Mills came in at about 310. He's down to 270. One picked up 40, the other dropped 40 on the pitch to Thomas. Does a good job to hang on to the ball. Nothing doing that time on the option.
Well, they went in opposite directions, these two guys, Bernard and Lamar, but what the good part about it is that they ended up in the right spot. Well-respected Big Ten players. If you look at Bernard and Lamar, and Lamar is the kind of guy who always keeps things going. He's talking in the huddle. He's taunting the opponent. He keeps you going in practice. You need guys like on your football team to keep you spirited. And I guarantee you that Joe Nowak is very, very happy he's got these two big fellows on his side.
Negative 1 yard on the last 7 offensive plays for Virginia Tech. The delay for Swarm over to the left side. He's put down. Well short of the first down. Jay Davis, the outside linebacker, making that stop. Just a tag on those bookend defensive ends. As we'll see Davis making the nice play in the open field first.
Boy, this is the key. Number one, he eludes a blocker, comes up, gets a wide base, makes a good tackle. We're experiencing real good tackling today. And if you've been watching, college football all season long, you see a lot of arm tackling today. We got some good stuff happening.
They're coming after the punter. Golly barely gets it away as Lewis will take it from the 28. Gets away from the first one. Takes it across the 35 up to the 38. So when we come back, once again, great field position for the Hoosiers of Indiana, who are down by strong to start the second half. Now can the Hoosier offense pick it up? Pressure on the quarterback, Pacey. He's got a man floating over the middle and just misses his target. Trying to get the ball to Shane Thomas, the backup tailback from Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for the Hoosiers because you get the feeling that they're going to have to ride on Pacey's right arm. He's going to have to make a big play. It's just not going to happen by design because this defense won't allow that. But if he gets out on the grass, gets in some freedom, he can make a big play. Boy, this is the kind of receiver where you're out, you're begging right now. You've got those hands wide open. You're saying, hey, John.
I'm your big play guy.
Yeah, man,
I'm your leading receiver. 3rd and 13. Pacey out of the shotgun once again. Overthrew the same target he was looking for earlier, Shane Thomas. So Indiana can't capitalize on great field position. Their last 2 possessions have started at their own 38 and own 41-yard lines.
But one thing George Ballou is going to have to do now is get with John, sit him down and say, John, we can't make it all up in one play. Don't be afraid to drop off and take the 3-yard pass out, in the flats. Let's take it slow and methodically move our way down the field. You're just not going to make one big play every play.
Their designated pooch putter is in there for the first time today. That is Shannon Rutledge, senior from Altoona, Iowa. So he's getting some involvement in the postseason bowl game. Steve Sanders bringing it across the 15 outside of the 20 to the 21-yard line. So that's where Virginia Tech will start with it on their 3rd series of the second half. And looking ahead to New Year's Day, Thrifty Car. DeJezo going underneath, and it's complete past the 25. The wide receiver Brian Still taking it in. So
Jason Norton comes up 17 on 17. They seem pretty much content right now to stay in the air. For some reason, they want to get this done with DeJezo's right arm as opposed to his legs.
Trying to spread the defense. They've got 2 to each side. Sanders takes that one in across the 30 and spins. I believe he got the first down with that second spin move. He got it to the 32. Put down by Mose Richardson.
Boy, Richardson, Sanders, real good matchup. Once again, we've not mentioned Antonio Freeland's name in the second half, and that's not good news for the Hokies. You got to get the ball in the hands of your best receiver.
Hurry up offense from the team that is leading by 15. An interesting scenario.
Well, because it's not working for them offensively right now. They had 4 bad plays in the passing game. They hit a square out and they got a first down, but that's not what you want. So you got to get the ball back in the hands of 42, Dwayne Thomas. This is the reason they got there, because they were able to hog the ball. He had a good blocking offensive line. Joe Swarm has played real well today. He's one of the MVPs right now.
Antonio Freeman on the last reception. Good for almost 7 yards. The fullback.
That's touchdown, Tommy Edwards.
Tommy Edwards from Radford, Virginia. Short of the first down by a couple of yards. Let's check in again with Mike.
Hey, Joel, it's kind of interesting. Here they are up 15 points, no huddle, throwing the ball all over the place. All that does is reassert Ricky Bussel's offensive philosophy, aggressiveness from beginning to end.
Off the fingertips of the wide receiver, Brian, still on 3rd and 2.
Well, that's good. You know, Mike's had a good point on that, but the bottom line to this is that there's a science to this game. You don't really want to reinvent the wheel. Time, if you can take time off that clock the way they play defense, you're going to be in a pretty good position. Now, Indiana can make us all look bad on this if they don't convert. Doesn't seem to be too worried.
Barely getting away in time. Lewis doesn't like to call it a fair catch and goes down right where he took it in. At the 20.
I like that.
Poorest field position to start a drive of the second half for Indiana when we return back to their own 20 with the Hoosiers trailing by 15. He's held up their end of the agreement of the second half. They've held Virginia Tech in check, and now Chris Ditto takes over to try to get some energy into the offense.
Well, this is no surprise. Bill Mallory told us that this would happen.
Thomas Lewis is there.
Real good arm. So sits up in the pocket, but then once again, you watch Virginia Tech now. They're going to get after this guy. He does not have the mobility of John Pacey. What he does have is that cannon of a right arm. And we'll see. Be a pretty good strategy right now on the part of Coach Almation to come after him.
He came in, as you're looking at Pacey, he came in for John Pacey. Late in the Purdue game, he engineered the winning touchdown drive in that 24-17 win for the old Oaken Bucket.
Pacey's their leader, but this won't hurt, especially if he can get some points on the board.
First down on the carry. Across the 30 to the 33, Michael Batts, sophomore from Seymour, Indiana. Pulled down by Dwayne Knight, the outside linebacker. But a carry of 5 yards and a first down for Indiana. What Ditto does bring is a little more height. You can see the field very well at 6'6", 220 pounds, and as Bill Mallory told us yesterday, a gun for a right arm.
He really does. We had a couple of passes batted today. That won't happen with him there.
He's a redshirt freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He's got it 1st and 10 at the 34. It's Batts on the inside give. And it's a yard at the most for Batts to the 35.
Lewis in once again on the tackle. You know, it's pretty good strategy on the part of the Hoosiers to try to get back into the ground attack and take a little pressure off this young man. Let him kind of get a feel of the game before you have to rely on his right arm. By contrast, I still like the idea of what they're doing over on the defensive side. I'm just a little bit surprised right now that Coach Almation has really not put about 8 or 9 guys in the box and just gone after this young man.
2nd and 9, a passing situation for Ditto and the Hoosiers. Looking for the little dump off. It's Glover. No gain on that reception. Only to the 35. Well, Ditto did have one start this year. That was in the Ohio State game. He completed 16 of 30 for 207 yards, and what impressed the coaching staff. He did not have an interception in that game while throwing for 1 touchdown.
Well, we've already noticed what he's been able to do in terms of force a change on Virginia Tech side, because they now seem to be set back into a zone in terms of the secondary. They have yet to come after him all out, and they're more concerned about the pass defense. So for one, if that respect, it has worked.
3 wide receivers setting up for Ditto on 3rd and 9. Here comes the pressure. He's on his way down. They got him low. And Bernard Basham got him high and took him down.
Basham on it, and George Del Rico coming at him again, the middle linebacker. I mean, it was just a matter of time. It absolutely had to happen. As you watch here, center of your screen, I mean, this is jailbreak. Everybody's coming in. They fill the lanes up. The offensive linemen, you know, it's a numbers game. There's 1 or 2 more guys there, and you have a body to block. If you don't get on them quick, they've got you.
Final 10 seconds of the 3rd quarter. DeJulio into punt for Indiana. Back to Sanders again. Line drive wobbler. Sanders calling for the fair catch. A rare occasion.
Oh, that was a bad move because he had a guy out there to help him on that. Those are the kind that you break if you've got some guts.
That's the final play of the 3rd quarter. Be right back as the Hokies get it back, and right now they're in the driver's seat, leading the Hoosiers by East right now on top of the Big Ten with 15 minutes left in the 18th Annual Independence Bowl. Joel Myers, Rick Walker, Mike Mayock in Shreveport, Louisiana. 1st and 10 for Virginia Tech, and the first play of the 4th and final 15 minutes of the contest from their own 30. Dwayne Thomas, featured back early. Hasn't seen that much action in the second half.
No, he really hasn't, but that's a good way to get things started. Get in that I formation, run the toss, bread and butter play, and start setting up that run again. I really believe they got to stick with it.
Only 61 yards of offense for Virginia Tech in the third quarter. Indiana, with an opportunity, the door was open to capitalize. A great field position. They only had 56 yards of total offense, though, in the third.
They're still in this game. They're one big play away, really, from rocking this house.
The fullback swarm. He takes it for a yard at the 32, so now 3rd and 8. What is it about grass that doesn't agree with the Indiana Hoosiers for some reason? They're 0-2 on the real thing this year, losing to Penn State and Ohio State. In fact, they were 0-2 on grass fields last year as well. So today they are looking for their first win on a natural surface since the Copper Bowl exactly 2 years ago today when they shut out Baylor 24-0.
And you try to think that, as a player, that it's no factor, but sometimes, it starts to creep in on you. You don't feel as quick as you do on the surface. But right now, at this point, they've shown that they can compete. It's a mental thing. They just got to get over the hump. They need a play.
DeShazo with pressure.
We had expected that was going to happen. I want to give a lot of credit to Constantine because this young man was hurt first half rather. He comes back into play, but boy, quickness always wins. This is Lamar Mills. He's going to play on Sundays in the future. He's 6'5", 270 pounds, and he has an attitude. I like him.
Golly sends it out to Lewis from the 36. Lewis taking it up near the 44-yard line. Yesterday, I was over in the Sports Museum.
Oh, yeah, that was a good
Champions. Plenty of notables from the Shreveport, Louisiana area. Some of those who were talking about Terry Bradshaw, Albert Bell of the Cleveland Indians, Wendell Davis of the Bears, and Joe Ferguson, former member of the Buffalo Bills. Al Sutton, wish I had his swing. The Chief.
Like to have Robert Parrish, his longevity in the NBA. David Woodley, I remember David real fondly. Super Bowl 17. It's a moment he'd like to forget, and I'd like to remember forever.
You've got the ring to remember it forever. In trouble is Ditto, and he goes down. Chris Ditto sacked for a big loss. The first one in there. It was Ken Brown. Ray as well.
And Cornell Brown. Once again, they figured it out. This is what kind of adjustments you make once you get a chance to check a quarterback out. They're bringing the kitchen sink now. Safety gun. They bring him up from the strong safety spot. And the interesting thing about Virginia Tech's defense is that every player on the field has its own individual blitz. They can come at you from all angles, and that's unusual.
Loss of 12. 2nd and 22 now. Hoosiers moving in the wrong direction almost 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. Ditto looking over the middle as Lewis. Similar to the pattern they scored on, the crossing pattern.
Definitely was. Guy has a great arm. That end route is a pretty difficult throw. He gets back. That time the offensive line gives him some time. Ditto steps up in the pocket and makes the throw. Nothing real tricky about this. You watch Lewis. It's going to go down about 12, 14 yards, come across the middle. You'd like to not have him drift upfield. That's how you get square ends picked off. You want to have him come across the line, come across the field, but he makes the catch. Good throw. You move the chains. 4
receptions now, 101 yards for Lewis. Big third down for Indiana. 3rd and 5 from their own 48. It's Glover. He won't get close to the first down. Now a decision for Bill Mallory inside of 11.5 minutes left in the game.
Well, I stay on the aggressive. Once again, Ken Brown comes up and makes the play. I like the swing pass. I like to see a guy with a big arm who will come down, and throw to that secondary receiver.
Well, they're not going to go for it on 4th down at the midfield stripe. They will punt it away. It was 4th and a little more than 3.
I don't go 4th and 3 either. I think that with his defense, the way they're playing, I keep trying to pick up a little field position. See, Joe, you go for it, man. That kind of guy, you roll.
It's the bowl game. It's not the first or second game of the season.
No, it's not, but why give it away? When your defense is playing well and you can put some pressure. Virginia Tech is not rock and roll.
And they go with the fake, and they go with the fake, and it's dropped.
Wouldn't you know it? We're up here arguing about it.
John Pilch couldn't hang on to the pass from the punter to Julio.
Boy, that is unfortunate. No one feels worse right now than that young man. But give Mallory some credit.
I like it.
Because he went with you, man. That's a good move. He faked me out on it. It happens sometimes. You get that play, guy gets out there and he's so excited. Anybody that's played this game and been a receiver has dropped one. And what happens is that you start thinking about, man, I am wide open, I might score. And then you take it, you get off this little bit, and it doesn't work for you.
So now Indiana are making Virginia Tech, starting with the ball for only the second time in Indiana territory. At the Hoosier 49. It's the fullback swarm, breaking tackles. He takes it down to the Hoosier 42 for a gain of 7.
Oh, that's a good play. One thing I like about Lamar Mills, he went up and gave the kid a hug. Hey, don't worry about it. We'll go out and get it for you. And that's what you need. You're never going to win or lose a football game in just one play. You like to see guys come out and give you some encouragement.
Chance now for the Hokies with the hammer on the Hoosiers.
Yeah, well, if you're going to go for the juggler, now's the time to do it. And I think you got to do it on the ground. Swarm, good play on that. I still want to see the ball in the hands of number 42.
DeShazo running the option. You got the call, but you didn't get the first down with number 42, Dwayne Thomas. He's short by 3, and let's head back down to Mike Mayock.
Hey, Joel, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little surprised that Virginia Tech was so faked out on that fake field goal. I mean, here we are in the fourth quarter, 10 minutes left, down 15. The ball's in the middle of the field. It's the ideal time to fake a punt. They were, I don't think there's any excuse. They should have been more aware of that. Back up to you guys.
Well, he got us. I mean, good point, but he got us. We're still here arguing about whether he would or should or could have. He makes the play. They just fail to capitalize.
DeShazo in trouble. Lofting it. He's got Freeman. It's complete inside the 10. Touchdown, Virginia Tech. What a throw across his body.
Right, that was big time. Lamar Mills is all over this particular play. DeShazo buys some time, works himself, watch the wide receiver who had the presence of mind to take it downfield. If your quarterback's in trouble, you do one of two things. Come back and meet him or take it off for the races and hope that he finds you. That's exactly what happened. Very nice touch throw. And the band's playing once again.
I thought you were going to say, and the band playing on.
The band played.
The extra point now coming up from Ryan Williams. So now everything going Virginia Tech's way. They get a break on the fake punt, and they get the big play to Antonio Freeman.
Now, to each man who shaves, there's an edge all his.
Exclusive presentation of Bowl Week. The 1993 Poulin Weed Eater Independence Bowl is presented by Poulin Weed Eater and Poulin Pro Brand products. Dependable outdoor power equipment you can count on. And in part by Thrifty Car Rental, historically known for low rates.
It was a 42-yard touchdown pass to Antonio Freeman. And it's busted and wide open for the Hokies of Virginia Tech from the Big East Conference. They're on top now 35-13. Ryan Williams will kick it off once again. So Indiana scored first in this contest on a 75-yard touchdown pass to Thomas Lewis. He's back deep now. You're looking at Jermaine Chaney, the tailback, who also returns kickoffs. But ever since that touchdown by Lewis, the Hoosiers have been kept out of the end zone. They've had a couple of field goals from Metalopolis.
Now, just not been able to get things going. No consistency.
Let's look back on that last score.
What you say to yourself is that, well, why didn't you play through it? That's the one thing where you don't want to be the official. Now, there's Mike Mayock standing on the sidelines. He had a bird's eye view. Let's find out from his side. Mike?
Hey, guys, that was obviously, as you can see, standing right there. His left foot clearly went out of bounds on the 3-yard line. The referee was in position to make the call. He just plain missed it.
So Antonio Freeman and the Hokies get a break.
That was blatant. That's twice. Well, you know why? The official was looking directly at the receiver's eyes instead of his feet initially. I mean, his job on the sideline is to do that. But then again, until they bring robots out, there's always going to be human error.
So Indiana with a penalty. Mark it off 10 yards. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 10.
Well, now you bring
Ditto in trouble. They get him again. A loose ball, and Virginia Tech recovers. Virginia Tech's got it, taking it back inside the 5. Was it Scott Jones picking it up or Drakeford?
Like Drakeford. Unless that's ruled down, now we're talking about Murderer's Row.
It's Antonio Banks. Antonio Banks officially came up with it.
Banks comes up. I mean, you look at this and you're back and you're really pushed up against it. You got a quarterback in who hasn't played a lot. I'm going to bring it at you. I'm coming at you. And this is the one thing where you like to see him maybe rely a little bit on the run. Look at this pressure right up the gut. The outside guys are coming in. They've got real good pressure all day long. Boy, J.C. Price, when you get tackles, you know, Waverly Jackson, these guys have really been stalwart. They've pushed the pressure in, and then here we go, our freshman again, our freshman of the year, Antonio Banks, playmaker, calls the defense, has scored a touchdown. Now he picks up his second fumble of the day.
So the 5th sack by the Virginia Tech defensive unit leads to the 3rd Indiana turnover of the day. We'll come right back as it's 1st and goal for the Hokies.
They ain't the same.
Everything going Virginia Tech's way now with 9:25 left in the game. Well, we thought he went out of bounds about 30 yards before that with the left foot. That was confirmed by Mike Mayock. Well, at about the 2-yard line, it looked like the left foot was out again.
Well, you know, when the ball's bouncing your way, everything seems to just flow like a waterfall. And now as we watch once again, here's touchdown, Tommy Edwards. He gets the score. And this guy, you talk about some guys who have a nose for the football, he's going to get famous as a result of having that field.
He's got a freshman single-season record. That is his 11th touchdown of the year for Virginia Tech. Tommy Edwards with icing on the cake for the Hokies. Well, there was touchdown Tommy Vardell of Stanford, now with the Cleveland Browns, and they've got their own version in Blacksburg.
They definitely do. Well, the NFL had a version for touchdown Tommy. They denied him for some time. He had some good moments this season, but this young man here has got a bright future up in Blacksburg.
Williams now for the extra point. He's got that. I won't even bring up Sam the Bam Cunningham, a former USC.
We don't talk about Trojans on this telecast. As we watch now, they got 3 great backs. Now again, unselfish, they block, but that was a very, very nice move at the point of attack. He bounces off, and again, if you're Billy Height, running back coach, and he's a guy at DeMatha High School. DeMatha is legendary in football as well as basketball at Hyattville, Maryland. And this guy just got to be tickled to death. Look at the backs he had. This young man right about there makes a real good move. Looks at the paint and says, I kind of like this. I wonder if he saves those balls like Emmett does, you know.
42 points now for Virginia Tech, a new Independence Bowl record. You can see 21 points off the turnovers for Virginia Tech. And they've been coming in bunches when they do score. 2 touchdowns over the last 16 seconds now for Virginia Tech. And at the end of the first half, if you joined us late, after a fumble recovery was returned for a touchdown, a blocked field goal try with a second left of the half was also returned for a touchdown. So Virginia Tech scored 2 touchdowns in 23 seconds to close out the half. And now 2 touchdowns here in the 4th quarter in a span of 16 seconds.
Yeah, it's really difficult on you, especially when you're not accustomed to being down like that. You look at their losses, that being Indiana. They lost to Ohio State 17-23, Penn State 31-38 in a thriller, and Wisconsin early on in the season beat them 15-27, and they really got off to a bad start and was able to come in and make that game competitive. So you don't know how to come back because you've not been in that situation.
The kickoff by Williams in and out of the end zone. 1st and 10 Indiana at their own 20-yard line. So Chris Ditto will stay in there at quarterback for the Hoosiers. And I would imagine that Bill Mallory, let's get that clock moving.
Well, I don't think he's given up. I mean, John Pacey may have re-injured the shoulder. You know, Bill Mallory's a pit bull. I mean, this guy wants to have a good showing, and he realizes you're 1 strike away. As long as you got a Thomas Lewis on the field, you've got a chance to score.
1st and 10 from the 20. Ditto overthrowing his intended target, Greg Hobbs.
Yeah, he went at Hobbs, but he had Thomas Lewis about 15-yard out on our side. Now, again, when you get in the game and you're down, I do think you got to go to your big play guy. You got to exhaust him, because what Virginia Tech's going to do defensively now, they're going to stick it in your face. They're going to dare you to throw. They're going to bring 8 guys at you, and I think if you got the guts to stay in the pocket, you can make a play.
It is a 29-point lead. I'll take that last comment with a 29-point lead for Virginia Tech.
I definitely would.
Pressure again on Ditto, and there he goes. Knifing through Ken Brown.
Once again,
Del Rico as well.
Yeah, but you had a shot on first down. You had a shot on first down, and when you get the second down and 10, and you're backing up, they're going to come. Once again, why not? They run a little game, a little inside stunt. There you have Del Rico and Ken Brown. They run a little X game right up the gut. Put the pressure on you. They want to get right in his face. Look at rushing yardage. Virginia Tech 110 yards. Indiana -16. When you got a big quarterback that's not that mobile, what you want to do is come right in his line of vision, come right up the middle. Give him a headache.
I don't think anybody could have anticipated, though, a team that averages about 150 a game on the ground with the shutout completely.
Got one.
In rushing as Thomas Lewis takes in the long pass from Ditto, and they call it incomplete. It was knocked away at the last second.
I guess who are super frosh, Antonio Banks. But see, this is what I was talking about. You go to the guy that brought you here. Lewis was open. He showed you his arm. You know, great throw and catch. But you bring a guy over, puts a little Rydell under your chin, and they don't hold on.
Let's listen to that one.
Sometimes it sounds.
That hurt from here.
Boy, sometimes it sounds better than it looks. That time it looked bad and it sounded great.
So now a punting situation once again for DeJulio. Sanders waiting back at the midfield stripe for Virginia Tech with 8:21 left. Off the side of the foot. Not much going right for Indiana. When we come back, the Hokies are going to have it 1st and 10 near the 28 of the Hoosiers. Another look at the hit. Some serious plastic on plastic there. We'll be right back to the 18th annual Independence Bowl.
That's good free safety play.
Virginia Tech is dominated since the start of the 4th quarter. They've opened it up now to a 29-point advantage over the Indiana Hoosiers, and this is their 3rd consecutive possession. Starting deep in Indiana territory. They've got it 1st and 10 at the Hoosiers 28. Raynal White with the first down carry, and let's head back down to Mike.
Thank you, Joel. Joining me is touchdown Tommy Edwards' father, Ken. Tell me a little bit about your bowl experience back in the late 60s.
Back in the old days, we played the Liberty Bowl, and I scored on a trick play on the 2nd play of the game. Now my son scores a touchdown. It's pretty exciting.
And if I remember correctly, and I was 10 years old, but you were number 33 also.
That's right. We wear the same number. That's a nice thing.
It's kind of
Frank Beamer did that for me. Thank you.
Back upstairs from touchdown Tommy's father. Thank you.
That's Mike. 2nd and 10. The ball bobbled by the running back White as they stand him up at the 26.
Well, that's a good story. Whenever you can go out and watch your kid play and play well.
Druckenmiller in there now, the new quarterback for Virginia Tech. He's a redshirt freshman. Northampton, Virginia.
Well, against Boston College, had a couple of touchdowns, played well. What they lose is the option, but they pick up a guy that can really get in the pocket and throw the football.
All in the family at Virginia Tech. Jim Pine from a football family. Tommy Edwards, his dad, a former Hokie as well. It's White. And on 3rd down, he'll come up well short of the first down marker. And needed to take it inside the 19.
Mark Mills comes up once again. There's going to be no quit on the side of Indiana. We mentioned this in our open. They're going to play whistle to whistle. And they have a lot of pride. I mean, these guys wanted to come out and make a statement for the Big Ten. They ran into a team that, you know, when you have a minute and 30 seconds before the half and you give up 14 points, you know, it's pretty tough to overcome that.
It's going to be a field goal try of 42 yards for Ryan Williams. His longest of the season was 34. Career best 50-yarder came a couple of years ago. It's on its way. And he's got a new long for the year of 42 yards. So more time to celebrate. Ryan Williams with a new long for the season, a 42-yard field goal with exactly 6 minutes left. Frank Beamer and Virginia Tech looking at their 2nd consecutive bowl win. They are 1-5 overall in bowl competition. Their only other win came in their last bowl game in the Peach Bowl following the 1986 season. They slip past quarterback Eric Kramer, North Carolina State 25-24. Williams kicks it off. It'll be Cheney staying in the end zone. Well, since Indiana closed to 14-13, if you joined us late, they closed to 14-13 with 5:25 left in the second quarter. Virginia Tech has now outscored Indiana after that last field goal. They've outscored the Hoosiers 31-0. Total domination.
They've done it in a brutal style. It's, defensively, it's one thing that just really have to make you happy as a coach. To come in with a game plan, how often do you get to stick to it? Well, defensive coordinator, Coach Almation, he's been able to do it. He said he was going to get in the quarterback's face. He was going to pound him, kick him, scratch him, do whatever it takes. And so far, it's paid off big time.
Ditto gives it off to Cheney. On first down, Cheney for 6 to the 26. Let's look back for those of you who weren't with us. The play that really changed the game. The final play of the first half, the block field goal. Antonio Banks coming up with a loose ball.
Comes up with the ball, but then watch the teamwork. It's when these defensive players automatically have to go to the offensive side. There he gets a big block by Torian Gray. That springs him open. He walks into the end zone.
That turned it all around. 14 points over the last 23 seconds of the half. As Ditto goes for Lewis. It's complete for the first down across the 30 to the 31, and now they say no. It's skipped in. So it'll bring up 3rd and 4. Well, that certainly changed the momentum. After just a play earlier, basically, 2 plays earlier, they had stripped John Pacey the ball, took it in for a touchdown.
Yeah, we were tied at 14 apiece.
14-13 at the time. And then Lawrence Lewis grabbed that loose ball, returned it 20 yards for his score. Then Indiana gets one pass play to set up the field goal try.
1 second to go. And it happens. And these young guys, 2.5 weeks here in the semi-vacation, and you just don't recover from it mentally.
Ditto trying to pick up the first down, does so. Sliding across the 30 to the 32.
Del Rico once again. Middle linebacker, been very, very active. They like him. You just got to like a guy. I mean, when your coach calls you a grunt and likes you, then that means that you've definitely found a place. This young man, redshirt sophomore, Coach Almation, we thinking about him yesterday, defensive coordinator, getting his hair cut. He was in a beauty salon. Isn't that an odd shot to see a defensive coordinator?
Let's call it a barber shop.
Let's call it barber, yeah, but we don't want to call it beauty if he was sitting in the seat. But he still had his game face on last night.
1st and 10 from the 32. Lewis is there. He's got it for another first down for the Hoosiers. Well, what kind of turnaround has it been for Virginia Tech this year? They were 2-8-1 last year. They tied as the 2nd most improved team in Division I play in NCAA. As you can see, Southwest Louisiana, the most improved team, and then Virginia Tech tying Auburn.
Well, one thing Coach Beamer told us last night is that they were a much better football team than the record indicated. They had leads in 7 of those games in the 4th quarter, and they just couldn't hold on. That tells you they got a pretty good football team. They were able to land 2 McDonald's All-Americans as a result of that.
The dump off to the running back. It's complete to Darren Ward. Inside the 45, down to the Virginia Tech 42. Thought it was interesting, though, when we talked to the defensive coordinators, Ditto gets the swing pass complete. We talked to Phil Almation, the defensive coordinator for the Hokies. We asked him about his nickel package. He goes, I don't believe it.
What nickel package?
He goes, doesn't work with us. He goes, we don't want to bring him on the field. If he can't start for us, he doesn't belong in the secondary.
Well, he also has the luxury of having guys like Dwayne Knight, 207 pounds, that can run. Kenny Brown, who's his best defender, who's 234 pounds. When you get these athletes playing on the edge that can do both things, you don't have to bring anybody else in.
Ditto with heat coming has Lewis.
Got him.
Lewis for a touchdown. He burns Scott Jones, the quarterback.
Well, they're about 3 or 4 minutes late on it, but maybe it's never too late. You got to go to your big play receiver. Thomas Lewis had the ball knocked out of him in that last possession by Antonio Banks. He comes back, shows he's a tough guy. You keep working on it over and over, good things will happen. That time he took Scott Jones to the bank.
Thomas Lewis with 166 yards after that 42-yard touchdown catch on the last play.
Yeah, but those stats only work if you win.
Manalopoulos. I can't believe we haven't blown his name yet. Manalopoulos with the extra point. Thomas Lewis is a special player, though, for the Indiana Hoosiers. Leads the team in receptions. Voted the most valuable player by the coaching staff as well.
Boy, Chris Ditto, he knew he was going to get hit, and guess who, boy? Del Rio comes in, Brown hits him. They hammer. He didn't get a chance to see this, but when he's laying on the side, probably had to put a smile on his face because Thomas Lewis found the football. He went to the football, made the play, and scored.
So now with under 4.5 minutes left in the game, Indiana will kick it off to Virginia Tech. Would appear to be a little bit late, down by 25 for an onside kick.
No, I think you go out and you get maybe a poocher, or you kick it down and go out and cover. They've had pretty good coverage so far. But when you think about a bowl game and all the fans that it brings out, a little excitement for the Hoosiers fans, I think they deserve that. And if they come out again and get the ball back, I'd stay with that battery. I keep going back to Lewis.
And a healthy day for the Big Ten Conference and the Big East. And let's not forget that the Big Ten, a very healthy bowling season. 7 teams in bowls for the Big Ten.
That's something. That's something in itself.
The biggest payoff going towards Wisconsin, which is, of course, shared by the conference in the Rose Bowl. The short kickoff. Will it go out of bounds? Yes. It'll go out of bounds. Virginia Tech will take over at their own 35.
On the kicking team, we'll put the ball in play on the 35-yard line.
Well, you didn't want that.
Well, coming up next on ESPN, it's the best of SportsCenter 93 at 4 o'clock Eastern. It's a recap of the major sports stories of 93 when they happen and as they happen. That's the best of SportsCenter 93 coming up next, right after the Independence Bowl, Shreveport, Louisiana. So now the Hokies will try to run out the clock with the backup quarterback in there, Druckenmiller.
Be interesting to see if they maintain their offensive philosophy of being aggressive.
There's Tommy Edwards. Straight ahead for 3.
Now, if you're the Hoosiers, you got to start trying to strip the football. I mean, you can't wait on it to happen. You got to take it.
I think they needed to do that a little bit earlier in the third.
I agree, but they didn't. So now with about 4 minutes to go in the game, you do what you got to do.
2nd and 7. Well, Frank Beamer was worried about his offense losing their rhythm because of the 4-week layoff. They got it going, though. Edwards again for about 4 to the 37. And the storyline thus far this afternoon in Shreveport. The special teams, the defensive teams coming up with the big plays for Virginia Tech. A new Independence Bowl record with their 45 points on the board. And the real letdown for Indiana, averaging 150 yards almost on the ground per game this season, a -5 so far.
I'm surprised they're that close when you get to look at the kind of running stats. But then Lewis, we don't want to take any glimmer off his star because he's definitely been good. And I think this young man has a chance to play on Sundays as well.
Edwards doesn't pick up the first down on 3rd and just about 3. He'll come up short. And the punting unit back out of the field for Virginia Tech with less than 3 minutes to play. Well, plenty of momentum now for Virginia Tech. Scoring 45 in a Big Ten team. The help they'll have now in the recruiting process, and as their head coach Frank Beamer told us yesterday, being a member of the Big East means a great deal to his team.
Well, it does. I mean, it's really a thankless job when you're a coach in the collegiate level, because you get out of this, you have a Happy New Year celebration, and you're back recruiting, because you got to get out and get after kids. You're building facilities. You're constantly trying to upgrade your program. They're happy, but they want to get in that top 10. They want to win the Big East.
Lewis, a gambler. He'll take it across the 25 up to the 28.
That's good.
The
I like
Hoosiers
that.
have it back. 4 posted. The Oilers 99, the Jets 3.
Oh, Bruce Costner's not watching that. Boy, he's had some tough luck. You're going to still go back to that Philadelphia game, that Raider game. Those are the two that really stick in his craw. They really had a chance to do some things.
Ditto throwing short on first down, trying to find Eric Matthews. So it'll be 2nd and 10. Now, when we were talking to the head coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies yesterday, when he was talking about the recruiting and the assets of being in the Big East Conference, he said, you've got to remember, there's Syracuse, Pittsburgh, there's areas and regions now that we couldn't have recruited from quite as strongly before.
Right.
And now that we're a member of the Big East Conference, it's really going to pay dividends. And there's a great deal of pride now.
Well, the reason being that you want to go into a young man's house and tell his folks that he or she gets a chance to go out and watch your son play. That means a lot.
Ditto has it deflected at the line. It falls incomplete. And there is, as you bring up, the Saturday television package in the Big East Conference up and down the eastern seaboard.
Oh, man, you know, they do a good job. And what happens is that when you can see yourself on television, your folks can see as we look at the Big East. West Virginia, we all know they're in the big one in the Sugar. Miami, a perennial power. When you look at these two top teams in Boston College with the great win over Notre Dame, Tech, Syracuse, and Pittsburgh. Syracuse had high expectations to start the year. But when you think about it, a team from the Big East has really been a contender for the national crown now the past 2 or 3 years.
2 minutes left in the game. Ditto in trouble. And on 3rd and long, the last thing you want is your backup quarterback being gang tackled.
Boy, that Ken Brown, that George Del Rico, these two guys, man, they sense it down now. They smell the blood, and they're going after, man. They are relentless. That is a group right now should really be proud of their accomplishments, and they are so young. Joel, you just got to know, man, that next season long, they're going to really raise some havoc over in the Big East.
The defensive front for Virginia Tech as a true freshman, a redshirt freshman, a sophomore, and another sophomore. That's their front four.
And that makes you happy, boy, if you get a chance to coach them.
DeJulio in the punt. Sound like a broken record, don't I? Less than 90 seconds left. It's the fake. And they will pick up the first down and then some.
Get more than the first down.
They've got it inside the 40 on the fake. The direct snap to number 48. It's Alfonso Thurman. Those linebackers love to run the ball.
Oh, Thurm, he had a moment. You know, I know that Mike's going to be wondering right now, how in the world could you get tricked on that? It's not so much that you get tricked, is that you look up and think, so what?
37 yards on the run by Thurman.
You know, special teams is a big part. Indiana, you know, their kicking game the past couple of seasons, they have been on the top of the Big Ten. They are very good at it. And look at Alfonso. He told me he had some wheels.
You believe it? That finally puts Indiana in the plus territory for rushing yardage today to a plus 29 yards.
That is grossly misleading.
Thank you. And special thanks to our partner working up in the booth with us today, our statistician, Marty Aronoff. Timeout, Virginia Tech.
You know, Alfonso said, please don't call me Al. You can call me anything, but don't call me Al.
Sports Center. The best of 93 is coming up next. Right after this 18th edition of the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. Well, we couldn't have asked for better conditions. Fast track, as we found out yesterday.
Brown's crew did a heck of a job. Really did.
It's an old-fashioned field.
What is Gatorade punch? You know, this is one thing I'd have to tell my troops. No matter what, do not put that ice cold one. If you do, take the ice out.
And don't do it with a minute 5 left. Do it with 5 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. That's even better. The guy goes by, catches a chill, but he's so happy now. You just overlook it. And you go back, folks, all the way to spring football. And then you go to summer preparation, 2-a-days. All the travel, you're going through your books. They're in finals right now. So much pressure on young men and women in intercollegiate sports. And it really is a testament to both squads to come out and play high-level football.
Ditto with time. Jump ball situation and a penalty flag thrown.
You might get some charity on that one.
Yarborough, the defensive back on the play.
Pass interference on the defense. 15 yards. First down.
So Indiana will get a 15-yard mark off and another opportunity to score inside of a minute to play.
And you want the points. Boy, when you're out recruiting, it sure helps to have that margin of defeat definitely down William Yarborough. We've talked about him throughout the game. Solid player, as well as Scott Jones, ex-walk-on. I mean, what can you say about these two guys? They walk on, they get scholarships is one thing. To the Virginia Tech, they definitely go out of their way to advocate. John Burke, the tight end, ends up making second-team All-Big East. And then there's, of course, a fullback, Chris Warren.
Ditto looking for Lewis. He's there, but it's knocked away by Yarborough. And the clock is still on 58 seconds. Well, we know it's not a Hoosier running the clock because there would have been a few seconds left in the first half instead of waiting to appeal to the referee to put a second back on the clock.
Absolutely. Lewis wants that touchdown. I mean, they just do a lot for your confidence. Start the new year off. No way you're going to get the win, but you do want to have the execution work for you. And everybody wants to get a touchdown. 2 weeks from now, everybody on the IU campus have forgotten that. They'll be talking about hoops.
Now, is the referee going to take some time off the clock? We have received official word that the MVP offensively for this 18th Independence Bowl, Maurice DeShazo, the quarterback for Virginia Tech.
Take 6 seconds off the play clock. Make it 52 seconds.
And the MVP defensively, the true freshman that calls the defensive signals for Virginia Tech, Antonio Banks, with 9 tackles, a fumble recovery, and an 80-yard touchdown return.
And just think that this young man a couple years ago, you know, had a major knee surgery. Thought maybe his collegiate future was in jeopardy, but the hard work paid off. He stuck to it, and good things have happened for him.
Pressure on Ditto, and he's on his way down. And when you talk about Antonio Banks, when he had the knee injury, he's very fortunate that Phil Almeida, the defensive coordinator now with Virginia Tech, was the secondary coach with Syracuse, who was recruiting him so heavily for the Orangemen and didn't quit on him.
That was the key. Well, I don't want to tell you how many young athletes get down on themselves. They have an injury, and you know, you don't have the stick-to-itiveness to stay with it and train properly and come back. He did, and it's just one thing that young people watching, you know, you pay to that. If you get an injury, you're never out of it. You just keep coming back, and good things can happen.
That was the 8th sack of the contest for Virginia Tech. But both teams came in with 8-3 record. Let's look back on what developed for Virginia Tech. All 3 of their losses were on the road at Miami,
where no one wins.
They established the record this year, 57 straight. They tied that against Memphis State. West Virginia, they lost there when they could have won it.
Well,
Williams missed the field goal with a minute 10 left.
I've always
42 yards away.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, words of losers. They were in a
42-yard chance.
Well, 42, they were in a position, but didn't get it done. I don't want to take anything away from the Mountaineers.
And then Boston College, they felt like they were soundly defeated because Foley threw for better than 440 yards in that game.
He was in the same zone he was in at South Bend when he beat the Irish.
There's the MVP celebrating with the student body.
Happy fella. Big man on campus. Big man on campus.
33 seconds left. 3rd and 18 for Ditto and the Hoosiers. He's going to Lewis again.
Jump ball.
It's wounded. And it looks like an interception for Virginia Tech. Yes, another Indiana turnover. Antonio Banks, the defensive MVP. Looks like he came up with another.
This kid, he won't need a plane ride back to Blacksburg. These guys will just float. They've got a good thing going now. Look at it. It's hard to imagine having that kind of success being that young. It's so difficult to make the jump to the next level. Boy, he's done it with great ease. He's an outstanding athlete.
So it should be 1 snap and a knee, and that'll do it for the 18th Independence Bowl.
It's rough. I've been on both sides. You know, we won a Rose Bowl, a loss a Liberty Bowl. Got spanked by Alabama, and trust me, it's a lot better when you win.
Especially when it's a Rose Bowl.
Yes, indeed. Makes it a lot easier. You go to class, you just have a good time on campus as a winner.
3rd quarterback Trey Kroll is in now for Virginia Tech to take this final snap. Somebody threw a flag.
Delay the game on the offense.
Now they are ready to charge the field on the Virginia Tech sideline. The students that traveled here from Blacksburg. They've got a good thing going under Frank Beamer, finishing up his 7th season with the Hokies. that should do it. So the Hokies win their second bowl game in the school's history. They dominated the game, took it over in the second quarter, put it away early in the fourth quarter, and have plenty of momentum heading into 1994. At final score, Virginia Tech 45, Indiana 20. Indiana never got a thing going on the ground today, and it killed them.
Well, it did it in a dominating fashion. You just have to like intimidating football. You know, we start talking about the Big East has great tradition. The Big Ten, rather, but the Big East, they're making a statement right now, both offensively and defensively.
So the defensive touchdown and the special teams touchdown coming up big. As Virginia Tech, Lawrence Lewis with that one score, Antonio Banks with another score. Got touchdowns from unexpected sources and dominated the Indiana Hoosiers this afternoon in northwestern Louisiana.
Boy, that's the rough part right there.
Chilly, very chilly from here. For Rick Walker and Mike Mayock, Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us. So long from Shreveport.